time's up. Let's do this.
We're in for a wild night.
Welcome. Sean todos bienvenidos al episodio 202 de Born to be Wild, un podcast de Wild y cosas relacionadas a Wild, donde nos juntamos con amigos, la pasamos bien y hablamos del formato Wild de Hearthstone, destacando miembros de la comunidad.
I am your host, Hydralisk, and it is great to be back on this beautiful, hot evening here in sunny Vancouver. I'm joined by fellow hosts, ElectricSheepCity.
Meowdy.
And Schmoopiedady!
Father sounds.
So also we are joined this week by our very special guest, TomCarter. So we'd like to start this off like we do when we have some guests. So how about to start off, tell us as much or as little about yourself as you'd like.
First question, and I'm already not ready. So I am TomCarter, not my real name. I will have it trademarked at some point. I play too much Wild. I'm 27 years old. I studied English for too long as well. And yeah, I'm glad to be here.
All right, Tom. I'm not going to go easy on you. Where does your username come from?
Okay, so my username comes from this YouTuber from England called Tomska. When I was making my first usernames online, I decided to steal the username and made it my own, and people got it confused. And people thought that my real name was Tom. So people called me Tom, and when I finally decided to tag Neon on Neon Hearthstone decks, I didn't have a Tomska on Twitter, now X, because it was taken by the real guy. So I had to come up with a username, and because people already knew me as Tom, I decided to add a last name to make it sound real, and also, so I had to Google a little bit, so I didn't pick someone that was already known. And if you Google Tom Carter, you don't really get anyone famous. There is, I think, a journalist, someone that goes to the gym, and me. And that's it.
Smart. Honestly, it really narrows it down if someone wants to Google you.
That's amazing that you did the background research to see if it was in fact somebody famous that you'd be getting lots of hits for, or whether or not you had pretty much the lay of the land as far as whether or not you'd get the hits on Google. That's
Right,
pretty good.
or also, if they were in some kind of list, I didn't want that either.
So the last week we featured Egg Hunter, Huhuran Hunter, a list that you produced and that you were refining, and you refined the list, and then you brought it to rank 1 legend in our Wild format on the NA server. And I'd love to do nothing more than talk about that list in depth, except we've already sort of done that, and we'll talk about that in our weeks. But this isn't your first rank 1, is it?
No, this is the second time. The first one was 3 years ago. I'm getting so old. It was on August 2021 with the meta that no one liked except for those that we had nothing better to do, which was Seedlock at its peak. That was my first rank 1. And we were fighting head to head, nail to nail with Maxi Bond,
Yeah.
Pace, and me. We were fighting back to back all the time for the rank 1 for like a week straight. And in the end, Maxi, because he gets to play when it's 4 a.m. for me, managed to get it when the season was resetting, and he got it, and I ended at rank 5. And fun fact, that leaderboard on the Hearthstone website is bugged.
Oh,
So I can never look at my rank 5 because it's bugged.
it won't. It never showed it. Hey. Wow.
Nope. I have the screenshot for the rank 1, which is better.
Well, that's,
Valid.
But
that's too bad.
so you have the memento regardless. But that brings up an interesting question, Tom. How much Hearthstone do you play?
Yes.
You always bring you always bring up the tracker.
Yes.
I always bring up the tracker.
I've got just so you know on the screen I have what you've done. I think this was this month or last month.
That is, if you're looking at the one that said the win rate, that is this month.
That is this month. So I just want to point out that there's over 500 games this month, and we are at the 10th of May.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, no, and I actually got off on my hours because I decided not to play on rank 1 for a day, and that can be between 50 and 100 games, so that number should be higher. No, I play a lot of Hearthstone. The reason I do that is because I'm able to play while I'm at work, because I do work from home, and because Hearthstone you can play with only a mouse. There is always one screen which is Hearthstone, and I'm taking calls. I'm not like, yes, please, let me place you on hold while I look this document. Did I miss lethal? So that happens sometimes. But I
I
do
see
play
why
a
you
lot of
use an
Hearthstone.
alias as TomCarter. I see why you have an alias.
Yeah. And I always get the feeling, so when it comes to refinement, because you asked about that with Egg Hunter, I feel like I cannot give an opinion on a deck if I have at least 150 games with it, which is fairly easy for me to pull. So I cannot so the thing is that I cannot play a deck for like 50 games or 10 games and say like, do I like this? Is it this fine? Do I need to change a card? Not. I need to play a lot to have a really good grasp on what's going on.
Well, speaking of decks that you've played a lot, we have some stats here of some of the decks that you've played quite a bit of. So, would you like to speak on some of this that we got here on the screen with Malagos Druid right up at the top here with 718 wins to 640. That one deck is like 1,300 wins or games. I mean, right? Like with one deck.
Yeah. So that is the first deck that I crafted when I got into Hearthstone. And I was switching from free to play to playing seriously. I bought both pre-orders from Scholomance. I fully disenchanted everything, and I crafted Aviana, Malikos, and Kun. Because as a new player, right, you would get highlights here and there, not YouTube shorts, but like little video compilations, and I was like, I love that thing about Exodia decks, and I crafted that, and I was in love with it. And every game it was Viana, Innervate, Kun, do the thing, love it, and it was so linear that I could play for I think that I played it for a month straight.
That was like me, but Mech Hunter. It's like I could high roll and do like the mecha tooth leaper comp, like just like, oh, let me just show 15 power on turn 3. It's so funny how like early in our Hearthstone careers, the little things that like hook us in and bring us in. Like, I don't know, Sheep, did you have one that like was like a deck that you just spammed over and over because you were just like, yeah, I like this pattern of play?
Gosh, I've had a few of them in my days, from like Mech Paladin back in the day with Replicatotron to like, of course, the one that I'm known for, Aggro Druid with the Ambiggins. Like, I keep on coming back to that, whether it's good or not. And right now it's not, because it's just such a fun play pattern.
It's like, oh, we can kill Big Priest this way. Hydro, how about you? Did you have one?
Yeah. So at least your guys' decks were good that you guys were, playing at the beginning that you'd come back to. So for me, I started, playing the game, and I dropped off for quite some time, and then I came back when they gave everybody Cthulhu, and I was playing Cthulhu Mage, like Old Gods Cthulhu Mage, and it's not that good of a deck by any means, but I loved like the Twin Emperor Veclor card. I loved making my Cthulhu huge. I love running, it's so bad, but like double Doom Callers so that I could play it 3 times. Like, it's so slow and so
Who
bad.
Who is this Greed Lord? Wait, who is this person? I don't know. I don't recognize you. What the hell is this?
Yeah, I know, right? And it was eventually I put a Ragnaros instead of one of the Doom Callers, just because I finally opened it. But yeah, I love that so much. And I did not collect stats at that point in time, so I have no idea how horrible it was, because I don't think I cracked, like at the time, like rank 10, the way that it worked, like the way with the old ladder system, that I did not like crack rank 10 with it. But I got my golden Jaina just doing that, which is insane. Like, I've got it a minimum of 500 wins running that greed garbage, because it was so fun. I just loved it. It was so cool. So that was mine.
Sorry, we had to take a little stroll down memory lane, Tom. But you have several decks up here. So you were saying, so APM, is that the?
That is the OG with 2 mana Zork. Yeah. And,
okay.
Haha.
I am
block
not,
or no ice block?
I don't remember. I don't think I was running ice block.
I don't think it was ice block. Corbett, you should just go like no ice block. We go for it.
What is the name of the minion? Flame Waker. Sorry,
Yes.
I have a nickname for it. Which is,
Yep.
PG. So I had to think about it because it's ingrained in my brain as the other one.
I got you though. Yeah, Flame Waker. My gosh, what an annoying card.
Yeah. But there is 2 APN mages, so I don't know which one it is. The second may be the Aha. Not sure.
So off stream, you said the Pirate Warrior is not the quest line, but actually like OG, like aggro. Is it like Descent of Dragons style Pirate Warrior? I mean, I guess you said Scholomance was when you crafted Malygos, so I'm assuming that Pirate Warrior is like a little bit after that or something. I don't know.
Before that was actually the deck that I kept adding cards as I was getting resources, but not using money. So it was before Scholomance. I don't know which expansion was it, but I'm fairly new to the game.
Ashes? Would have been Ashes, I think.
Yes.
Ashes
So I started
Okay.
playing seriously when Ashes was just finishing. Like I knew the game, I knew the I knew the thing. So my cousin, for my birthday, I remember when he was like, "Here, have Overwatch." And we would play Overwatch with him and a couple friends. And I saw on the Battle.net that it said free to play. And that was a lie.
You're somewhat fairly new to the game, as you said, but you have gotten so much time in that shorter amount of time that you've actually been around the game. I'm just curious, there's the achievement for 10,000 wins. Do you have that already?
I think that I'm at 17,000.
Yeah. So, yeah. Wow. Congratulations. That's amazing.
I think I'm only ahead of Tom just because Tom, I think you've been playing pretty much at a high level the entire time once you've started taking it seriously, right? Like I get the sense that like you haven't really dropped and played in the mud in the same way that I maybe have.
Maybe for a couple months, but I I hate it both low and high. I don't like neither.
You're just stuck in a cycle of playing Hearthstone, but you don't really enjoy it either way.
No, I really I like it. It's a fun game, but for example, if I go too low now, especially you're like facing bots, and because I went high, you do this thing where you're like, okay, these are the meta decks, and I'm gonna hand read this person. I'm gonna telegraph what they are doing, and suddenly they are playing uh, Lazul in a rest priest, and you're like, what are you doing? And that is super annoying because like you cannot telegraph bad players, and if you go
Yeah.
too high, which is what has been happening to me for the last couple days, people snipe you, people counter queue you, and I guess and the queues are 9 minutes, 10 minutes. It destroys your morale. Um, so I don't like it neither too high nor too low.
9 minutes to
There is
get counter queued is
sweet spot.
brutal.
Yeah.
We don't have to go through each list one by one, but I'm sure like the pace plus crystal minus spell that has to be the other rank one, right? Like that has to be the other special
Yes,
special bad
that's
boy at
that's
57%.
I think that's the rank one. Yes.
So that's 57% win rate. Again, you're playing against Pace and Maxi. You guys are all vying for rank 1. I'm sure I know you're playing your other players too. I know Tiger Eye was pretty active during that time, right? So like you're at the top echelon, and you're pulling a 57% win rate. That's kind of brutal, dude. That's like messed up. Like you are a cracked player.
Oh, the hunter now shows 57%, but that's because it's all the versions. The latest iteration is like 62%.
Oh, wow.
So that's an even better. You're doing even better with the new deck that you've hit rank 1 with.
I don't know.
versus
I will need to
your
look at
old
the
bow.
tweet that I made because the tweet that I made with the seed lock has the version, so it shows it's only like 60 games. It doesn't show 400 games. So it shows the version, and I think the win rate was also up there. It was 60 something, 61%.
Well, we've been going down memory lane. I'd like to continue going down memory lane because I first interacted with you in the community through Keith Number's streams. So I'm interested in knowing, what did his community or stream mean to you?
It's not like I didn't know what Twitch was, but he was he welcomed me into the community basically. I had a couple friends out there. I joined the Hearthstone Discord from Reddit, but I didn't have a footing, right? I was just another random. And Keith did this thing that you now do as well, where people add you and you're like, "Hi, hello, we're friends," um, and he did that, and I was like, "Cool." And he super casually goes, "Oh, also I stream," and I was like, interesting. And um, I actually had no idea what I was doing. Keith um, was offering what is the name? No, it's not tutoring. Um,
Coaching?
coaching. So I actually took coaching with Glare.
Oh, neat.
From Keith. And I think just a couple months later, I got rank 1. Yeah, but the funny thing is that he was like, I'm not even that good with the deck, and I'm like, yeah, but I have no idea what I'm doing. Like refreshing mana was something that I had no idea what it meant.
Right.
Besides Kun, and that was really funny. But no, he welcomed me to the community, and he got me. I don't want to say contacts, but he showed me the ropes. Like, for example, I remember that I would face someone that I knew was a streamer or a YouTuber, and I did the dumb thing because again I was new to what streaming was, where I would go like, "Hey, I'm your opponent" in the chat.
Oh no.
I didn't know. I didn't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
They didn't know
that's
it was
so
a
funny.
faux. It didn't know it was a faux pas. Because I think you were right there with me. I mean, like, there's a period of time where we were all saying happy birthday to Keith every day, whether it was his birthday or not, in his Discord when his Discord was still active, just like sort of goofing off and then popping into chat. I want to share another memory together, Tom, because I know you're kind of a central figure to this because you know both sides. Let me set this up. This is the story known as the Mama Bear game, and it's legendary in Keith lore. It starts with Perry Repost, who, as another aside and a funny story, and this is worth it because it helps paint Repost a little bit. Once tried to drunkenly convince me that he had convinced Corbett that one of his most ardent stream snipers was in fact me. And so he got Corbett to read a message with like a bit claim or something like that, where Corbett is literally doing it's like a hostage video where it's just like he's written something out and Corbett's reading it. And I'm like DMing Corbett and I'm like, I'm so sorry, I am not this person. I don't know who to. And Repost is just like, haha, gotcha. So Repost sends Odd Warrior to Keith Numbers, which even at the time 3 years ago, was never going to win a game. Right? It was never going to win the game. But Keith cues it up anyway. Tom, do you want to take it from here in explaining the situation and what sort of unfolds?
Sure. Let's go with that. So Keith, known for playing viewer decks, cues this game of Odd Warrior being like, at the very least, it's going to be a drag. This is going to take a while, but you can fatigue someone if it's aggro. You can win. It's going to be kind of hard. And they queue into someone, which, side note, I said before, like, I had a couple friends and I had joined the Hearthstone Reddit Discord. This was one of the persons that was in that original group that I had when I joined the community. And I see the username and it's Mama Bear, and I'm like, oh, I know this person. And I see them on we had a Discord, and I see them there with another couple friends, and they're playing. I'm like, oh, cool! I get to watch both sides. And Mama Bear was playing Shadow Walk, and we all know how Shadow Walk can just entangle you and drag you.
Yep.
And
I don't think
but you
Mutanus was
eventually
even
can, like,
was Mutanus even printed yet? Like Odd Warrior, I don't think possessed
No.
a way to even interact with Shutterwalk in any meaningful way.
No. Mutanus was not there yet. And she ran a special list that had 2 cards in it that were really good if you pulled it off, which was Hemet and Bayful Banker.
Clever girl.
I don't know how to say this, but
Hostages
we are
were
like,
taken.
okay, this is going to take maybe a little bit more than we were expecting. And Mama Bear was not attacking with a shudder.
Can I
She had played at least 25 Lothefs
can I
and Boom Pistol Bullies.
insert real
Yes, go
quickly?
ahead.
This is a very special night for me because this was the day that my daughter was born. And so I'm in the hospital queuing into Keith Numbers' stream. I see that Repost was an idiot. He just gave Keith Numbers Odd Warrior, and Odd Warrior hasn't won a game since, I don't know, whatever it was, 2001, apparently, right? It's like it still hasn't won a game. And so I'm sitting there and I'm just like, all right, this is going to be good. And I'm watching this scenario unfold. And I see that Keith Keith is beginning to be taken hostage because not only does Mama Bear have this infinite combo, but Mama Bear has also played Armor Vendor. So every time she is playing a Shutter Walk, she is gaining armor. And so if she's choosing not to attack, nobody's dying. Literally, she has taken him hostage. And I've realized this scenario, and I also know newborns because Schmoopie is 3 years old at this point, and I realize, okay, if I don't get sleep now, I'm never going to get sleep because newborns have no circadian rhythm. They're going to wake up at random times, so I'm just whatever. I'll leave the stream running. I am going to fall asleep, but I leave the stream running because I want to give Keith the view. So I pass out. Tom, continue.
So the thing is that I think this got fixed at some point, but back then, turns could last more than the animations. So at this point, because of how many cards were played and how many shutters are queuing into one and another, into the other, each Mama Bear turn is taking between 12 and 17 minutes.
Wow.
And she's in
Keith,
chat.
I think just grabbed a book and started like reading. And all he could do, because all the minions were ratted, I think that any spell in his hand was at least 300 mana. All he could do was hero power.
And he did.
He would hero power and end the turn. And then 17 minutes of shutter animations.
There were hostage there were hostage negotiations.
And now go take it from what happened next when you woke up.
Okay, so
When you woke
so
up.
I learned when I woke up that there were hostage negotiations. Mama Bear had come into chat and Keith had been like, I think that what you're doing right now is despicable. And I'm a man who is trying to do entertainment and I'm making money off of this entertainment. But I'm also a man of principle, and I think that the fact that you have taken me hostage willingly, knowing that I am putting on a show, is reprehensible, and I do not negotiate with hostages. So I wake up.
With terrorists.
I do not. Why? I do not. I do not negotiate with terrorists, and thus I wake up, and it's cut price. Hey losers, which is a soundbite that you could recall on a dime. For Keith numbers for 1 point when it was cut price. And so it was Penflinger going, hey loser, hey loser, hey loser. And so I wake up and it's, hey loser, hey loser, hey loser. And Keith's going, we do not negotiate with terrorists. And hey loser, hey loser, hey loser, hey loser. And I'm like, what is going
What
on?
I miss?
And I'm checking the health totals. And Mama Bear's got like 200 armor, and Keith's got like 169. And I'm like, oh my god, it's the same game. It's the same game an hour and a half later. What is going on?
It was not an hour and a half.
It was longer than that? Was I asleep for longer?
It was at the very least, it was 3 hours.
I saw the last hour of the game, I think. I think I hung out. Keith was doing like a half price
That
AMAs.
game.
He was just like, ask me anything. Literally ask me anything. Because I'm pressing this button and I'm letting them do whatever they want to do, but I'm pressing this button. And so eventually Mama Bear got bored. And eventually Mama Bear decided that they were going to just click and turn.
She wanted to go on, but eventually the people she was hanging out with realized that because we were mutuals, right? Because I was going back and forth between chat and the Discord, and I was like, they know I'm in between these two people, and I was like, concede.
Please concede.
For my sake. If you don't care about Keith, but for my sake, because you, like, he's my friend, and this is a horrible situation. And eventually the peer pressure, I want to say, she was like, you know what, okay, and she didn't even concede. As you're saying,
Everyone just passed
she
button until both players
hit.
exploded. It was a tie. It was a tie is how it ended up ending.
Right, because she was like, no, I'm already invested in this game. Like, I am not going to concede. I'm like, you've been here for 4 hours. We can leave. We can all leave.
And Keith is just sitting there. He's just looking at the computer. He's just like,
We do not negotiate with terrorists.
That was at least I want to say 85% of the stream, and the weirdest thing was that once the game was over, you would have thought that Keith was just going to, punch the monitor and go to sleep. No, he turned off viewer decks and
Kept going.
played for another hour or
he,
so.
he played the next viewer
He
deck.
kept going.
He played the next viewer deck. It was amazing. It was
That
amazing
is
to watch.
amazing.
But
You know-
it was good stuff, and it's funny because it's not necessarily a fun memory for Tom. And I asked Tom before we did the show whether or not it was okay to share this, just because these were people that Tom was friends with in the community, and it was really stressful to go back and forth between two parties. I'm sure it was like a little bit fraught and distraught. But the fact that it coincides with the birth of my daughter makes it too special for me to not attempt to share on the show. Especially because it was like, again, I passed out being like, listen, I'm going to be really tired later. I'm not going to make it. I'll give Keith the view. And I wake up and literally bedlam.
Oh look, I didn't
Bedlam.
miss it.
Yeah.
Little bedlam is broken out. And it's absurd. And it's like, and to be such a master of entertainment, to keep people invested in a game like that. Think about it. Like, there are some streamers where you get caught in a loop like that, and they're just like engagement goes completely out the window. People leave the stream. They're like, oh, whatever. It's going to be this forever because, he's too damn stubborn. He's not going to leave. And meanwhile, the other person's clearly won. But he hung in there. He hung in there, and he made it entertainment, and he became a ringleader, and he just whirled it around. And it was an inspiration. And I thought it was too good a story not to share.
No, and the most amazing part were other streamers coming in, because he was I think rated, and I think that I saw Martian, I saw Corb, and they were like, "What is wrong with you?" They were like, at this point they were like, "You can leave." Bottom right, and Keith would time out anyone that mentioned bottom right.
For maybe like a quarter of the next Shutterwalk turn. 10 minutes.
It's true.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's amazing. We had Keith numbers on a few years ago at this point, and it was a really special episode because we used to do a gameplay. So we do the whole show, and we used to do a gameplay session afterwards, and we post it as a separate video. And so it would be like sort of like a part 1, part 2 of the episode. But what we did for the second part, we strayed from what we normally do, and we had Keith was on for the regular episode, but for the second part, we did a roast, and Keith was roasting decks. So we had all the viewers submit.
Yep. Oh, I remember this. I was laughing.
That was so good. So yeah, Keith roast decks. It was great. People just like, this is my list. Like, what do you think? And yeah, he would just talk trash on your list and like why, this card shouldn't be there. Why are you using this tech card? Like all that kind of stuff. It was really good. It's got to be almost back in the single digits of episodes. I would guess.
I sent in Reno Secret Mage. And I'll put Reno in quotations. And he goes, I don't know why you guys gave me this list. This list seems like perfectly fine. It looks really playable. No weird cards. And then Nate happens to like chuckle a little bit. Goes, you got 2 counter spells in there. Oh no. Oh no. I hit Legend with that deck. In fairness, I hit Legend with that deck with 2 counter spells because who would see the Reno payoff coming who would see the second counterspell coming? Once you've seen the Zeph, once you've seen the Reno, once you've seen the Kazakus, the Kazakas, that's it. Like you're not going to play around the board clear for the second the counterspell. And I got so many people with that, and the pregnant pause after it happened, where they're just like, "Oh my god, this moron." Tom, go ahead. You have a story. I can tell you have a story.
No. What I'm going to say is because you are exactly that person which I was talking at the beginning, where I say I do not want to go lower because I cannot telegraph who would play a duplicate on a Reno deck. You do that thing, and I'm like, am I wrong? Is this the what
No,
the?
you're not wrong.
What happened here? So that's why I need to climb just a little bit.
Stay away from
so
me.
that people only run one
You
card.
need the gated community.
their Reno
You
deck.
need the gated community of Upper Legend, because otherwise, if you don't have that, you end up with crazies like me. In my fairness, it was a duplicate, but you could tutor it. You could tutor it, and you could draw it. And I was playing Max Challenger. You guys all remember Max Challenger, right? I was playing Mad Scientist. I would also mulligan for the counterspell, which can't be correct. But we're not going to talk about that.
Just to not have a duplicate. Mulligan's four secret.
We're not going to talk.
Funny.
We're not going to talk about. Anyway, Tom.
There are times that duplicates are okay. There are some times that they're okay in a Reno deck, like when we were running Hemet in Mechathune Warlock, right? Like, I think that was fine.
Oh, right. We did sometimes run.
Yeah,
Reno
but you had multiple duplicates. That goes more on what's now called flat earther, like Seth on the Miracle deck.
Yeah.
This was 2 counter spells and another 28 cards.
Well, I'm not justifying what Schmoopiedady did. I'm just saying there are some times where it's okay.
I have no apologies, though. I will say.
I don't know.
I will say. Oh my god. Do you guys remember when you guys interviewed Catulan on the show? Right, and she did like Odd Paladin with you guys, and so she was on my friends list, and I got up to D1 with the deck, and I was going to hit, and I lost my boss battle, and I fell all the way to D5, and she's like, "Wait, I just saw you in D1." And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Wow, you're really tilting." I'm like, "No, you can't do that. You can't do that to me. You can't do that to me, Catulan." I hit day 8 that month. I hit day 8 with one singleton in there. All right. It did work. It sort of worked. Anyway, enough about that. Tom, why don't you talk about your whaling? What do you want to flex with? Let's go. What's your pride and joy in here?
Well, now it's the fact that I was like, is this deck a meme or not? And I was like, I actually own Princess Huhuran. Interesting. So that happens a lot because I massed amounts of packs, and I tend to notice enchant things. And I think that I'm like 70 cards away from a full collection, like 20 epics and 50 legendaries. And the flex, which I don't think is a flex, because some people are like, I open this signature, I have this in diamond, and I'm like, I open my collection and I don't know what's there. That is my flex. That I open the collection and I'm like, is that a card? I have it in golden.
You
What
have a
happened
full
there?
Caverns of Time, and like, I'm pretty sure at least 2, if not 3, of the 4 old gods in signature.
Oh no, I
I'm
have it
so mad at you because you'll never play them. You'll never play them. You son of a gun. You'll never queue them on ladder. I see that smile. You're shaking your face right now. I'm sorry. This is a radio program. This is a podcast. You can't see the smugness on Tom's face, but he's just got such a guapo smile right now, with his eyes squinting, and he's chuckling, but it's not audible. But he's never gonna play them. He's never gonna play the signature Yogg. I will, but I don't have it. But he will. He has it. He won't do it.
The thing is that I opened so many Caverns pack. The only one card that I wanted was Signature Brand. It's the only one
No.
that I don't have. I have all of the other ones, and I think that I don't have Don Hancho, and that's the other one. And that's
Well,
the
that's the
other
next
one
one
that
you're
I
getting.
have. Aya, I have the 4 gold. I have Finley. I have Elise. I have,
Reno's good. Reno's a good
and I'm
one.
like, and as you're seeing, I'm looking at them, and I'm like, no, I wanted the
brand. I
brand.
can play the brand every time. Who has the brand? OTC has the
Kazakus.
brand, right? Okay.
OTC has the brand.
And okay,
Yeah.
all right. Sheep has the brand.
Yeah.
All right, sheep.
To the
I
surprise
kind
of
of like
no
Golden
one.
brand better.
No, no, and I have Kazakus. Again, I'm missing like 2 signatures from Caverns.
Yeah.
I'm so mad. I'm so mad because the only one that I want is brand.
The signature drop rate for Caverns of Time was also super low. Like it took a lot of those card packs to get those. Ask me how I know.
And there's the gold ones, right?
Yeah, no, but
Yeah,
the
the
fun
gold-
thing
golden
is
The
Caverns
gold
packs.
ones.
no, you can
You
get
can
them
get them from normal ones too,
ones.
but the
Um,
drop rate is
and the-
higher from the gold.
Yeah.
It's even
Yeah.
lower. No, but the funny thing is that yes, I spent money on Caverns pack, but given how much I play, I have so much gold when I want to. I never save it. I always buy packs. Uh, but in a couple days, I can just like open at least 2 or 3 packs a day just from playing on the same day. So that's how I just kept opening packs. Like yeah, I put a lot of money in the game, but like,
You're also grinding
I
it.
also
Yeah,
have
you're also
a lot
grinding
of
it.
things.
How often
Yeah.
do you hit level 400?
I think that I never hit 400. I think my closest was 3 something. But the thing is
Right.
that I don't do
Achievements will
achievements.
probably get you there. Do you do the boost?
Yes, I did. I did this time. I didn't buy Nathria, so I don't have a golden Renathal, Sag, um, because that's when they changed the rate from my currency into the game, and the game became like 4 times
makes
as
sense.
expensive.
Makes sense.
And now they changed it to USD, so it's now like 10 times as expensive. But yeah, let's keep it at that.
Yay. But
Yeah.
like there's always duels. Oh wait. There's always arena. Speaking of crazy things, so like I don't think people realize like you know why have TomCarter on now? Like okay, sure, you got rank 1 with I will call it Huhuran Hunter. Over the past week, and sure, that's all well and good, but you've transformed yourself, I think, into somebody who is deeply involved in the community. I mean, like if you spend any time anywhere, eventually, I think we're gonna eventually bump into you, especially THL, where like I think at one point you were saying like I'm in all the THL team discords, as like an unofficial sub or as like a coach or what have you. But what's your involvement with THL this season? Because I think it's again something kind of incredible.
The thing that I do, which is why some people may have me by name, but not necessarily, is I always stay on the low. I'm always there. I may be on the Discord, but I don't speak much. You may see me on ladder, but I don't speak much. I always stay on the low. So I'm everywhere, but I don't have a presence unless I want to. So that gives me the power where sometimes, and I don't use Twitch that much. When Keith stopped streaming, I didn't use Twitch until you started streaming because I didn't find anyone that was like,
I'm honored that you came.
eh, you know, because I never liked it. I don't. It's weird. I don't know. And also makes my computer laggy. Uh, but basically, I may pop into a Twitch chat and suddenly someone is like, "Oh, that's Tom." But because I do that once every blue moon, you know me, but you don't really know me. Like, is that guy from there? So what happened this season in DHL? So I'm good friends with Mari, who most people may know as NHL AJ Fan, um, and he's a board member on DHL. I was looking at, I don't want to say I was looking at things to do, um, but I it, it had been a while since I was a player um, on in DHL, so I decided to um, see what they needed help with. And I DM NHL. I'm like, what can I do for you in regards with DHL that you would find useful? Do you need someone to take over for uh,
Yeah.
Google Sheet stuff? Do you need someone to be a moderator on the Discord? And he said, no,
Oh,
I need captains.
cool.
I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess I can be a captain for Wild, right? And he says, uh, no, we are actually looking for Legacy. I'm like, I don't play Standard. I'm like, okay, I guess I give it a go. Um, so I sign in for, and and I get a DM. I don't remember if it was him or someone else. And he's like, hey, this person is looking for a Wild team. I'm like, but I only signed for Legacy. And then he replies, no, you're doing both, right? Yeah, but this was because this was like or a screenshot on the THL thing, and I'm like, okay, I'm doing the two. All right. Um, so suddenly I have two teams when originally I was going to have one. And then, luck have it, they decide to run something that they hadn't done before, which is they gather free agents, took the PR if they were doing Legacy, Pro, Hero, and build teams. But these were captained by the people at the board. So I DM NHL again. I'm like, do you need help with the free agents? Because I know this can be a lot. You're going to have like 5 teams. I can offer you the Discord that I have, so that one of the teams has like a home. They have their own thing. And he's like, yeah, sure. And I'll stay there to help you out. He's there. He gives advice. But now I have like 15 people under my belt, and because I'm too lazy to find subs, I almost played in Hero this week. I'm already playing in Legacy and in Wild. I just keep playing all the formats and also captain all the teams. So I have 3 teams with the dumbest names
Oh,
ever. One is named Markipliers.
okay. Yeah.
And it's a picture of Markiplier, the YouTuber, with Marty with the with pliers. The other one is We Forgot. The hero team is We Forgot, which every time that I need to fill out a sub form for that team, I feel so dumb because I need to fill out the thing and who's getting subbed out? This person. What is the name of the team?
We forgot.
We Forgot. And I need to type it out, and I'm like, I'm so dumb. Why did I let them pick their own team name? And the other team is even worse because we were running the deadline for the names, and I'm asking the guys. I'm like, guys, we need a name. And a Nubinator, one of the players, she replies, oh, we need Lamp's input, which was another one of the players. And I took a screenshot of that, and I named the team Lamp's input, and the logo is a screenshot of the Discord conversation that says, team, we need a name. Yes, Lamp's input. And it's a screenshot.
Tom, I believe
That's amazing.
Drop
this
the
probably
mic.
doesn't translate to Spanish, but it sounds like you got shanghaied. Doesn't
Yeah,
translate.
No.
Yeah. You got rolled out of an opium den, thrown on a ship. You came to, and you were halfway to China, and that's it. You got shanghaied, friend. Before you knew it.
Yeah, no, but
You're working on the ship.
But I'm fine with it because I'm used to you know, I'm used to doing 11 things at the time. But I wanted to stay as a captain non-player, and now I'm playing so many series. I had to hit legend in standard just to show them off at
Nice.
some point
Nice.
because I was like I
Flex.
cannot be a captain without and I think that I hit for the first time in like 2 years. I got like top 2K in standard. I was like, oh, by the way, this is your captain. You know, this is your captain. Speaking. Like when I say do this, I know what I'm talking about. Bye.
Are you doing?
That
Are
kind
you
of thing,
doing like
know?
the opposite of what they always do at Wild? Like they haven't played Wild for 3 years, and they hit Legend. They're in like top 300. They're like, Wild's easy. You're doing like the opposite. You're like, Standard's easy.
Right, but the worst part is again as you showed the other day. I'm like talking super casually, and someone is like, "Are you rank 5 in Wild?" What? Like, yeah, yes, but we're talking a standard here. Let's not pay attention to the Wild rank. Please.
Well, Tom, it's
Fantastic.
awesome having you on the show, and all the work you're doing for THL. I'm making a little bit of light of it, but all the work you're doing for THL is it's really important for the community. And I know Marty, aka NHL fan, is super appreciative of the yeoman's work that you're putting in. Because again, like some people just don't want the responsibility of captaining teams, but without teams, the series doesn't run. So it's really cool that you're helping out. And with that, I think we are going to bring to a close what was a very entertaining interview section and move on to the housekeeping and then news and discussion topic. Housekeeping!
Absolutely. So, for those of you joining us for the first time, welcome aboard. We record this podcast live every Friday evening at twitch.tv/borntobewildhs. And the video version of this podcast is then posted to YouTube shortly thereafter. Audio versions are also distributed to all of the podcast apps. So however you are watching, listening, or absorbing via osmosis this podcast today, thank you. Yes. Content plug, Schmoopiedady.
Content plug, Schmoopiedady. I was finding it. Before we get into the main topic of the show tonight, I'd like to say a quick thank you to Shakunin and the other patrons of our show. Your support means the world to us. If you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, and comment to this video on YouTube. Another simple way to support the show is to leave a review on your podcast platform of choice. If you're watching live on Twitch, we've got some awesome emotes that you can unlock by subscribing to the channel. This is free if you use Amazon Prime. Finally, if you'd like to support the show financially, you can join our Patreon for as little as $1 per month. We have some channels in the Discord that are unlocked by subscribing to the Patreon, where you can see the show coming together each week. Check it out. If you'd like to interact with us personally, please join our Discord, a free and amazing online community of friends all across the world who love talking about Wild Hearthstone. Links to all of this stuff and more, including our merch, can be found on our website, which is www.borntobewildhs.com. Sheep, how was your week now that I feel unsafe?
Oh, I had a decent week. So first I hit Legend in Hour 4 Battle of Wild with Custom Rogue 2. That is an aggro pirate rogue with a small thief package and Velarok Windblade. It's also got like Shoplifter Goldbeard. It's a pretty spicy list. It's much better than I thought it was going to be. Someone hit rank 1 with it, and I was like, oh, that looks like fun. I'm rank 5. Like, I'm at the rank floor. I'll play around. And then I went like over 66% to hit Legend with it. So it's like, oh, yeah, it's pretty decent.
What? This is your custom rogue too? Is
Yes,
that it?
Custom Rogue 2. Yeah, Schmoopy.
Can I admit something? And I won't interrupt your week anymore, but can I just admit something real quick? I may have crafted a certain 5/5 in gold just in order to play this deck.
I mean, he is called Goldbeard, so
I don't want to say his name. I went 0-2 with the deck. I'm not 100% happy with my decision. That being said,
you could have tried the
had
deck
to.
before you made it gold.
No.
Yeah, see, that's just not gonna fly. I don't know what you're talking about. You gotta
There's like a pack of wolves, or there's like a murder of crows, or like whatever. What is a group of whales called?
a pod.
Born to be wild.
It's actually a pod. No, I'm not kidding.
A pod is the real
a pod.
answer.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
Schmoopiedady,
So we're a pod cast. We're a cast of a pod.
Oh my gosh. That
And
is
Tom's
so
here
funny.
too, so it's like we've got 4 in the pod right now.
Yeah, and I mean, I was gonna say that, you know, like you didn't have to craft it in gold, but like, I mean, my list is the one that's on screen, so like I've got it in gold, so I didn't have to like craft anything to get it there either.
Sorry, sheep. I had to have that. I had to tell you that and save that, not for DMs, not for the exclusive channels on the Discord, but for right now at this exact moment, because otherwise it would not have the same impact.
That is accurate. And I mean, it's his name is Shoplifter Goldbeard. The fact that he stole your dust is just appropriate for you to make him in gold. Like, it had to happen.
I'll eat it.
Wait,
It had to happen.
It was even better because it's golden. It stole dust and ranks.
Lifting all the shops. So once I finished tying my shoelaces in Wild, you know, I think I mentioned, if not here, then in Squelch, that I've been working on a free-to-play account for my son. You know, I left the apprentice ranks late last month. You know, it's completely free to play. I've put $0 into it altogether. And yesterday I hit legend and standard and hit rank 222 while doing so.
Zappy's going to be on the Master Store.
No.
We have
If they try and get him there. My son is 16 months old, so I'm very much just preparing the account for him, but like, you know, his is the name on everything, so
Dad, how do I have the legend card back?
Yeah.
Does that just come with the account?
You didn't queue into a single person with the card back. I still maintain that
did
the
not.
minute you find a card back, listen, play some Wild. I'll find your MMR. I'll queue into you. It's no big deal. But like that card back is not changing until Zappy can figure out how to change it. As is tradition. We all went through it. We all went through it, right? We all got the card back, and then we figured out how to Tom, do you not have the card back?
Yes, but you could just. What do you mean we all went through it? You don't know how to change.
It was a surprise at the time.
It was a surprise. It's like, oh, that's your card back from now on. And all of a sudden, like 5 games in, I noticed, wait, I still have this card back. What the hell's going on? Why do I have this card back going?
Oh, I don't know. When I look at the cards in my hand, they usually face up. I don't see the back.
Yes.
Maybe you're
right,
still
that's why it
running
took me
the
5
card
games.
back.
No, I got it, but I'm just messing. I don't usually look at the card backs. I realized that I had it, and I was like, huh, interesting. But I was probably somewhere else, like, you know, doing my thing.
Yeah, I just changed the card back whenever like that event stopped. Whenever everyone wasn't trying to get the card back, I was like, oh, cool. I'll change to a different card back. No biggie.
The only card back that I bought was the pizza one.
Nice.
Gold, because Blue Train hates it. but like
That's right.
hatred towards it. And that onion pizza, it's actually a specialty here in my country, in Argentina. It's called fugaceta, and it's really good. And he will never try it because he despises onion on pizza.
Okay, is it
But
is
he
it the
doesn't know what he's missing.
is it the raw red? But are the raw red onions actually raw, or are they baked a little bit with the cheese?
It's not red. Although it can be, and it's baked.
Poquito baked.
But you can taste the crunch. It's a
Okay.
crunchy pizza.
Okay.
It's a crunchy
Okay.
topping.
Okay.
That sounds tasty.
Not for Blue Train.
Not for Blue Train though.
And
No,
I
wi-
spent 1,000 gold just to piss him off.
Yeah. Well, guess what? Blue Train is a mod and in chat currently. So,
So hi, Blue.
there. Hi, Blue.
Let's start that rampage again.
So yeah, my standard right now, just saying y'all, it's so easy. My 16-month-old can get inside top 300 legend. Like standard's not hard. Come on. I'm just stirring the pot. I don't think that. Or
Of all
do
the
I?
wild streamers. Something
Right.
copy pasta.
If all the wild players were to move over to standard, then standard would something tread lightly. Tread lightly is the big part of it, though.
Tread lightly is the big part, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it ended up being this developed into such a weird drama because that was also the first time that I got top 1K because I was like, hell yeah, I'm riding the train. And I took a screenshot. I was like, hey, I'm rank 800 in legend in standard. I'm a wild player. Suck it. And there was a THL team that was named Brett Lively, which was five.
We don't talk about them.
standard
No, we don't
players.
we don't talk about those guys. No, we don't. I'm
No,
still
but
tilted
like
from that
it,
season.
it spread to the weirdest places. Like it went
so weird.
everywhere. That pasta went everywhere.
Oh yeah. I think that it was in like the Masters tours and like stuff like that. Like chat, people were saying like tread lightly, tread lightly. It was silly.
Yes, it was so weird.
So, with my 16-month-old being much higher ranked than me, I'm inside the top 2K still in mine. I was top 1K inside that earlier today. Then Decay brought me out of it, and I'm like 1,200, 1,300, something like that right now in standard myself. I'm inside top 1K in Wild though, so
Nice.
yeah. So that's been my week. Hitting legend on my account, and my son hitting legend as a 16-month-old. Hydralisk, how's your week been, bud?
It's been pretty good. Work has been absolutely insane, but I've been playing some games after work. I believe I've just hit like the diamond 10 floor, not legend yet, but it's early in the month. It's only the 10th, so plenty of time. And I was just, you know me. I was running Corb's pirate rogue that he had last posted, and it's doing quite well. But I have noticed, at least where I'm at, there's a lot of people running a lot of control tools just to deal with it, because pirate rogue, garrote rogue, just aggro, and rogue is everywhere. So we saw the last meta report, and it's just full of rogue, right? So like in tier 1, so there's a lot of people that are prepared for it. But sometimes you can get under them and get there pretty quick. So yeah, that's what I've been doing, and also been playing Warcraft Rumble as well. I love the events that they've added to that game. It's super cool. I love that with the guilds, that you can all contribute to the same goals. Like we've got this Blingtron event, and then we've got the Dark Moon Fair that it's going back and forth between the two. And like it's this group effort to get somewhere. And I think that's really cool that it brings it all together. So been playing a lot of that in our guild. It's the Walk to Work / Born to Be Wild guild that we've got going on there. So that's been a lot of fun. Also, I made it to, I didn't open my spreadsheet, but I dinged 16 for books at almost 17. I thought I was going to hit 17 read books before the podcast, but I didn't hit 17. So I'm at 16 for the year. The goal is to be more than 33, obviously, as I've stated before. But the one, so I'm
44.
on. I know 44. So I'm reading The Sundog by Stephen King currently, which is it's in the Castle Rock sort of realm. And then I'm reading The 3 Body Problem as well. And so I'm doing both at the same time. One's audiobook, one's physical book. And so both really cool. The 3 Body Problem is crazy because it's written by an engineer, not an author. So is
Is this the novel from China?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Neon Heron gave me a hard copy of that book, and he's just like, "You should read it sometime." I'm like, "Yeah, okay." And he says it's nuts, and I need to get into it.
You should. It's hard at the beginning because it's extremely technical. At the beginning, it's super political, and then it gets really technical with all of like it's a lot about physics and stuff like that. So it's oh yeah, perfect, right? So that would be good for you. So it's really neat. It's quick little touch. I don't want to go too far into it, but it's basically people who deal with like actual proven physics versus theoretical physics. Yeah. And so that's like the beginning premise of it, right? It's kind of like a battle between the two, which separates mankind, and it goes from there. Anything else I say will spoil the whole story, but that's sort of where it starts off. And it's pretty cool. Definitely enjoying it. So I should be at 17, hopefully 18 finished novels by the time we get to the next podcast. But yes, as Sheep is pushing me for 44 this year, we'll see if I get there. I do enjoy reading so much. It's so funny. I'm such a nerd now. I mean, I do a podcast about a children's card game, but I'm even a bigger nerd because I read so much. But
Hey.
yeah, it's just funny because my kid, Mini Hydra, he makes fun of me for how much I read. Every single night before bed, I'm laying in bed and I'm reading my book. He's like, "Dad, what are you playing, like video games or outside skateboarding or doing something cool?" I'm like, "This is cool, boy. This is cool. You just don't know it yet."
Boy.
Do you ever bring up some like crazy trick you pulled off in your skateboarding days? So you're just like, "Oh yeah, well I bet you couldn't have done a blah 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 over a so and so like I did that one time in Memphis." And like
In Memphis, yeah.
Like, you've never been to Memphis? It's like, shut up, son.
No, I do have funny stories like that, but never Memphis.
Never Memphis.
That's the sticking point.
Do you ever like fight back? You're just like, "No, I did this once. Once you can do this, then you can talk to me.
Well, currently I'm still better than him at skateboarding. So that is not shots fired. He knows he will get better than me, but I'm still teaching him tricks, right? So he's 15. Gotcha. And he's learning fast. He's learning really fast, but I'm currently still better. I'm saying currently, because he's already out, like with the trampoline acrobatics and stuff like that I taught him when he was a lot younger. He's surpassed me by, like, I taught him how to front flip, back flip, and then front flip 180, back flip 180, front flip 360, back flip 360, all that sort of stuff. I was teaching him all that. And then he started doing like doubles and back to back and like going crazy with it. And I'm like, okay, why did I teach you when you?
I have a lot of trivia. I actually used to skateboard. But wasn't the record broken when the Mega Ramp was introducing the X Games? Within like 2 years going from a 720 reverse to a 960 to a 180 to sorry to a
Oh, it's
1080 a
crazy.
1080. That is
Wow.
I think 5.5 rotations, and I bet Schmoopiedady is so confused. It's so confused.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I never heard Tom about hearing talking about.
Oh,
skating.
it's so funny. No, I actually skateboarded in an event by Red Bull where they had what they called the Mini Mega. So it was a smaller version of the Mega Ramp, and I got to skate that, and it was super cool. It took me three tries to actually make the gap and land it. I bailed the first 2 times, and then on the third time, so after you launch the gap and then you go up that big quarter, I went up, but the wood is very slippery. It's like a masonite like type wood, and I went up, and I just, as I was going up, I completely like slipped out and fell down.
Oh
You know,
no.
it's like the ones that we have here
But
are usually not wood. We have outside the most common ones, right? That you hang out with friends. There are not that many that are inside ramps, so they are all concrete, and you will eat
yeah,
pavement, and it will hurt. Yeah, yeah, no, I went skating
yeah.
a couple of weeks ago at like 4 a.m. with my cousin, and
Nice.
and I ended
As
up
one does.
so bruised because it
Right.
was years since I've been skating, and my mom thought that I was mugged because I was walking funny, like
Oh no, that's
and it looked like literally someone just like you know, give me the money. And I'm like, no, that was myself with this board that has wheels, just into the ground multiple times. Yes.
Yep, concrete hurts. It's so funny, and it's weird when I fall hard too. Like I don't. It's strange. Like as an adult, you're just like, like you hit so much harder. You don't bounce
you
as
don't
well
only
as you
not
did when you
bounce,
were a kid, right?
You
Like
you
I-
can tell because there are other skaters around. When someone bounces right, it sounds, it sounds not like a clap, but you, I don't know how to explain it, but you know what I'm talking about, Hydra, where no, that's
A
the
thud.
bad hit. When someone hits and it's fine, you hear like it's not a bounce, but you hear like a takung, right? But when you feel when you like someone is not going to stand up immediately, it's just a dry, and you're like, oh, that person is dead because it makes no sound. It's just a dry funk.
yeah,
That
especially
too,
if they
yeah.
make no sound after.
All the fat,
Then
all
they're
the,
really gone.
fast twitch muscle is gone. Like any of the the reflexes are gone. You're just straight up.
Yeah,
just
no,
like-
and the person is staying
eating
there
it, huh?
like
Yeah.
the Dragon Ball Z character that just got beaten, and you see the skate go
take-
up a ramp just like half a foot, and it goes back and it just hits them, like.
as a last little indignity, just to sort of highlight the
Right.
moment.
No, it's in the middle.
Hey,
Wiser
buddy, how you
words have
doing?
never been spoken.
Not great skateboard. Not great. Hasn't been good since I ate this one.
Yeah, that's hilarious. So my son has been getting me to skateboard a lot with him recently, which is good because it gets me out, it gets me on the board, and there's all these like basics he's trying to learn, like the different ways that you can do shove-its, the different ways you can do your 180s. There's nollie, fakie, switch for everything, right? So I'm like teaching him all the different ways to do everything. And then he's getting into doing kick flips, varial flips, like that sort of stuff. I was trying to teach him how to do big spins recently. No luck on that one yet, but yeah, he's doing good. It's so fun that my 15-year-old son is into the same thing that I was into when I was 15, and it's just it's super cool, a little bonding experience. And we got a park not too far from here. We also have a basketball court that's across the street from us, so it's good flat ground that we could just go and we can do that sort of thing. So it's cool. It's Mini Hydra is my bestie. Yeah. All right. Well, enough about me, Schmoopiedady. How was your week? Actually, I'm going to say one thing. I'm going to try to find an image because you talked about how the board hits you when you die on a ramp. I'm going to look for an image. Schmoopiedady, how was your week?
My week was good. My favorite part about this week was I got an inspiration around Sunday. Tom hit rank 1, and I'm just like, Tom's a mod in my channel. Tom's my buddy. Why don't I have Tom on? And I put a big old clickbait title out there that says, exclusive interview with rank 1 wild legend TomCarter. And we basically just like to bring Tom on and talk about his version of Egglock, Huhuran Hunter, that hit rank 1. And this was Tom, I think this was your
the tracker
sixth
says
version,
4.3,
right?
but I don't know. And when I go to HS Replay, it's like version number 18th. And like, what?
Somewhere in between 6 and apparently somewhere between 4.3 and 18. And so like we shared a very primitive list last week for the show, and it's so funny how much the list changed between even when I first got it on. Well, I think the version that I shared was like midnight on Thursday for the show on Friday, and then you hit rank 1 legend on Saturday. How much the list had shifted from then. We made the decision that like this is already going to be a long show, and we already have a lot of content still to go that we're not going to go through and like dissect part for part every card in the Hunter list, and in part because like you and I already did that on my stream. So on my YouTube in the show notes, I've included a link to the video where we go through basically at one point my favorite part. It's literally 2 deck nerds like dissecting a list and it's a Renathal list, so it's 40 cards for 35 minutes with 1 game of gameplay. It's hysterical. But like every card is very intentional. Every choice is very intentional. And the one choice I think we do want to address, because Blister Guy asked in show feedback on the Discord, was why no main deck Rhino? And so let's just clarify that real quick. Because we went through everything else, including my favorite part where like 25 minutes in, you literally rattle off from card 0 mana to card 5 mana kind of organically, since we went through every single package. Why it all fit together. Well, I can't do this because I have this, and I can't do this because I have this, and I can't do this because I have this. And it like all sort of clicked together as like, oh, why? This is why it's the perfect 40. So do you want to just establish real quick why no Rhino main deck? Or
so why not Rhino main deck? And it's fairly easy because you can be an OTK deck if you have the Rhino, and even with the amount of games that I play, I will consider you a gambling addict because you have a 25% chance of doing nothing. You play an egg, and then you have a free Rhino, and you're like, and now what? And especially in a 40 cards, your egg or your things for your egg are sometimes so deep inside that thing that you're like, nice, I got the free Rhino, so when I get the free other things, I can do the thing. And that's not going to happen. And when you do get the other egg, that's another 25% chance of getting another Rhino. So now you have 2 free Rhinos. And now what? So the thing is that the deck is really good at beating 2 top offenders across the ladder, which are Hyper Aggro, not even Paladin, not necessarily Rogue because it's kind of busted, and the thing that it loves eating, like the deck chews through, is Giants, because Even Lock and anyone that I face on top 10 that is playing Miracle Rogue hates me. Because they do the thing and they are like, haha, I played a Lothar, so you have no spells. I'm like, these are minions and are free. What are you on? And I just clear the board. But it just chews through giants like nothing else. And the problem is that if you have a Rhino, it's, again, the things have rush. You don't really care about the charge. And you do the thing that those decks are trying to do, but you do better, which is, here's a board full of things, deal with it. And they do. And you're like, do it again. And they do sometimes because they are really like, just do it again.
Do it
because
again, do it
sometimes
again,
you
do
can
it again.
get 7x. That's the one change that I made for the list. The list that you posted was actually the latest iteration until we were talking with Zach, which is Hyperion, who's on the THL team with me. And we were just joking about the Tempo Storm putting Egg Hunter in tier 1 because he actually helped me a lot with the list. And we were talking with NHL because he's also in the Discord. And we were like, and the funny thing is, there is a quote in the Tempo Storm that says, and the funny thing is, this deck list is not even refined. We don't know where it could go to. And I was looking at that, I'm like, bro, I tested all the cards and I have like 300 games. And NHL says, sorry, I had to fill the paragraph. Like, I need to put something there. And we were joking about that, and I'm like,
Next meta report.
right,
Same 30,
I'm
same
like,
40 cards.
maybe he's right. So I made one change, which is Barak for Nathanos, which is something. I can give my opinion, but it would be a whole rant. But it's the same thing, but it's basically another egg, so it's good. And it now made the list more expensive, and probably no one has Nathanos, and because he got
I was gonna say you made it 1,600 dust more
just
expensive.
because we were joking with NHL.
How do you plea? How do you plea? Because people are already crafting like meat wagons and princess hurons and.
Oh, I am
Current.
so you have no idea how guilty I am because I am with the amount of games that I play and Hyperion helped, and I want to say this, Hyperion helped for only one thing, and it's that HS replay requires you to have 2 players play the same deck for it to show data. So he was the other player.
That's amazing.
We have 56% win rate in Legend. And between him and I, mostly me because I play like 6 times the amounts of games that he did, we brought Hunter from the 5th best class in Wild to the 2nd for like 2 days straight. And now people are playing the deck.
Wow.
It's amazing.
And they suck. And now Hunter is at like no offense. No,
Number
it's actually
8.
number 7 or 6. And it's under 50%.
Oh well.
Oh no.
So people crafted meat wagon and don't know what to do with it. I am beyond guilty.
Wow.
So I went. Go ahead. What were you gonna say, Adrian?
I was just gonna say, if it makes you feel better, I say who ran as well.
I did.
Oh, that's what I say. I just
Regardless
quote
of how many
unquote
times
correct.
people will quote unquote correct me, I am just gonna be belligerent and just shoulder through it anyway and just say it wrong anyway. Mostly because I will forget the correction. It just will be my brain is so chewed out from too much Wild that it just does not stick. So like
The thing
whatever
is,
did stick,
I'm
that's there.
correcting you from the correct thing to another thing that could be correct. Who knows? Mostly, I think what you're saying is correct. I'm just giving you a hard time because it's fun.
Now we know why Tempo Storm named it Ed Hunter. They probably had the same discussion. They were in a Discord call and were like, where are we going to put Huhuran? And it went for like 15 minutes into Huhuran, who ran? And they were like, egg. Someone just screamed egg, and they were like, yes.
Marshy called it egg. I guarantee it was Martian. Martian's like, it's Egg Hunter. And that's it. It
Probably,
was over.
yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
Smart move, Martian. Smart move.
So So like that was actually really I can't explain how excited I was for that video because I'm trying to branch out a little bit from the content of just like, okay, let's just do VODs, let's just do streams, let's just do clips of games, but actually like talking to the camera a little bit. And so being able to sort of geek out with Tom a little bit and talk about deck building. Again, literally the video is probably like 35 minutes of us breaking down the list, but going through very specific choices and the thought process. I think it's a good thing to study, especially if you want to be a better deck builder in Hearthstone. So like that was definitely, without a doubt, HS wise the highlight of my week.
Wow.
Personally though, as a player, just before stream, I got my first 12-win arena run, which was really cool. I've been dipping my.
And I got the notification. I saw it and I was like, nice.
Got the notification. Tom's like, yes. Nice. It's I feel like a real Hearthstone player now, unironically, because it's like the one game mode that I looked at that was just like I'm never gonna figure this thing out. This thing is just too annoying. And the cadence is completely different in Arena. It's a lot more leisurely until it's not. And so it's kind of like leveraging, it's almost like a wrestling match. It's almost like leveraging, okay, when can I apply pressure? When can I not apply pressure? When am I going to be greedy? When am I not going to be greedy? When am I going to dole out everything I can do? When can I not dole out everything I can do? And I actually ended up winning, getting 12 wins with, of all classes, Druid. Doing like a dragon Druid sort of thing. Because I had so much experience with, I think, Future Emissary and Nest Matron that I just had some disgusting turns where I'm just vomiting stats. Or I'm like, I'll play one Future Emissary, but I had drafted 2. So that I'll like play the next one, then play Nest Matron, then play the Shooty Dargon that hits the minions. And like they're all huge. And I've also drafted, Savage Roar in my list, and like I just burst them down from there. And so like I had a lot of games where my deck choices just sort of worked out, and I felt very mid-rangey. Like if I had gone too long, I would have lost to a lot of the decks that I played against, but I didn't because I just sort of ended it on turn 6. So it felt very wild to me, and it felt very like, I don't know, very using the weight of my deck and like very judo. Like, okay, I'm not going to win this in a long-term struggle, so let me just apply pressure when I can apply pressure, but I can't do it right away, so I have to kind of pick my spot. And so that felt
right,
really cool.
And you did this on your own, right? Or did you look for any guides, or did you look for cards? Like,
No.
I think this card may be better in Arena. Like, did you look at HS Replay or Hearth Arena?
So I have to say, so again, I played it all on mobile. So I don't have access to a lot of the Arena tools that people have. But I've been sort of tangentially paying attention to Arena. One of my favorite players to raid is SaveFile, who is an amazing Arena streamer. Great production values, but also like very entertaining personality and talks through like why things are good. And like a lot of Arena cards are kind of priced kind of similarly. They're usually like 4 through 6 mana. They're like cards that I consider good Arena cards. But they have an effect that's very profound and hard to answer. And I think right now in this set, the origami cards are all kind of nasty. Like stealing stats out of nowhere and then like making a free trade can be so brutal and backbreaking in Arena. Because it devalues value bombs. Like the best class right now, hands down, is Shaman. Because Shaman can do everything. Shaman can beat you with tempo. With like a elemental build. Shaman can beat you long game with like what's the new 7 mana spell that buffs all the minions in your deck?
Wish upon a star.
Yeah, Wish Upon a Star. Like they have lots of single target removal. Like you can draft basically infinite hexes. You can draft Thrall's Gift, which is like it's AoE or it's single target removal. Yeah, you can do like the whole excavate thing. Like Shaman has every tool available. So to beat a Shaman, you kind of have to either get under when they can play their expensive removal or create so many large threats that their single target removal is neutralized. And I didn't queue too many Shaman, but I kind of got that done. And again, I'm not going to give a whole treatise on like Arena, but to your point, Tom, it's mostly I just sort of dove in and just started doing runs and just started to try and analyze the meta as I was doing runs. And there's a lot of runs where I got 1 or 2 wins. But now I've sort of identified a little bit of peeking at HS replay and seeing, okay, what are the high win rate cards, or what cards have a high win rate in the decks that they're in. And that kind of gives me an idea of like, okay, these are probably good cards. But also just sort of learning the cadence and the choreography of the mode, and like, okay, this is when they typically play this. This is when they typically play this. And for us, we did that for Duels because Duels was basically Wild, but more degenerate. This Arena feels like a slower Wild. So like, I think I have a little bit of more of an affinity for it. I don't know if I'm going to stick with Arena the same amount, but right now I'm doing the Gamba and I enjoy it.
Yeah, no, I was asking you because
yeah.
we were talking when I saw the notification, I messaged you and you said, "Oh, this is very like curve stone," and you now said like, so it's like a boxing match where like when I apply pressure.
It is curve stone until you break the
Yeah,
curve.
the thing is that I also think it's curved like it said. But every time that I play Arena, it's getting curve stomp for me. More so that playing cards in an order. And when you said this is like a boxing match, I was going to ask like, I asked where do you read, like if you had any prior training, basically, for it, because when I play Arena, I'm me. And my opponent is Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
So that's my issue currently, and that's why I'm not getting into Arena. So it doesn't feel. You can call it a boxing match.
Yeah.
So people call it manslaughter. I don't. I always go like 1 and 3. I don't get it.
Well, it's funny that you say that because I consider you a much better player than me, so I'll take that as a compliment. A lot of times, you should probably draft greedier. There are specific cards that are cost like 5-6 mana, and not only that, in Arena, I'll actually keep some of my value bombs in hand. Like one time I drafted a Shaman, I kept Brucon the hero in my hand because if I can coin that out, like I'm grinding you from there into infinity, into dust with Brucon starting on turn 7. So, like, you probably can't aggro me down. I can probably stay even with you with tools. We probably have an average curve of, like, 3, 4, 5 mana. So, like, turns 1 and 2 are really not that impactful unless they are based on the deck you built. And a lot of people don't build aggro decks, so it's like, okay, this turns from, like, a mid-range slaughterhouse to, like, it's like either a mid-range head-to-head or it's like a value game, and so like it's a different comp. But what's unique right now in Arena is I think the Discover pool is basically Wild minus some secrets. Like I haven't seen Objection. I don't think Objection is in it, which is like great.
I've run into Objection like once. I've been playing more Arena lately too, and
okay,
I've run
so
into
you have hit
it
Objection
once.
Okay,
once.
I think that might be like it's slipping in. I don't know if that's supposed to happen because I don't think I've ever seen Objection. So like I think the Arena, I think the actual secrets are usually more curated and the drafting is more curated. I don't know what sets are. Right. I don't pay attention to that.
No, but I love how you're talking about that,
apparently.
and we did that dissection of the deck. And now
I know.
feel...
I'm sorry.
No. What I was going to say is now I feel exactly because I realized that I was having the same phase that you were having when Hydra and I were talking about skating. But it's like I know those words.
I was interested in that.
Right. But when we start talking about like 960 and 1080, and you're like, those are numbers.
1080p, yeah.
And it felt like, yeah, like,
Hey, I teach physics. I was doing the number of rotations in my head, and I have my socks on, so my counting ability is much hampered at the moment. Okay,
especially with the sex.
I can only count to
No,
10
exactly.
because my
And I
fingers
know
are
what
available.
mid-range is, but because I'm so like away from the format, I'm like, aggro, yes, chip minions, go face.
Hydra's showing an amazing picture on stream right now of what looks like him completely biffing it. And
Yes. So, yeah,
go ahead, Hydra.
describe,
Paint
describe.
a picture with words.
Well, yeah. So this is myself. I checked the Instagram post of when I posted this. This was 2013. So 11 years ago, and it's a full pipe, right? This is not a half pipe. This is a full pipe. And so the idea here is I was obviously not trying to go all the way around, but you get as high as you can and you ollie and you do, like different like backside air, frontside air kind of thing, like do some grabs and stuff. But
yes.
I got to the point where I was getting a little too high, so it was passing the point of it being vert and it was becoming inverted, right? So past the halfway point up, and I was going too fast, I went too high, and I dropped, and I hit the floor, and my skateboard
Where you are now
just
sprawled out in this picture. Yes.
sprawled out. This is the point of impact. As you can see, my legs are sticking straight up. My friend took like the most perfect photo of me hitting the ground, and my board is like 7-8 feet above me.
It's beautiful.
Like at the
it's
top
beautiful.
of the full
it's
pipe.
It's like the board is ET in the bicycle, soaring majestically through the sky, and Hydra is solidly a human tree planted in the ground. It's just wonderful.
Yeah, I couldn't believe how perfect the photo turned out. So
Yeah, and
that,
what I
that
was saying
made
is
the
that
Instagram
the
reel.
skate then hits the wall, and it's going to it's going to either decapitate you, but if it hits the wall, it's going to, because it does this. It's like it has a magnet like pigeons have for the North Pole, where the skate is like, oh, so you just ate the thing, and the skate is going to slowly roll, and it's going to either hit you on the knee or in the ribs, but slowly. It's going to be like a tap. It's going to be like, like you failed, and it's going to be like the last lap. Like, you suck at this. Get out.
I have one thing to say, like 4 times. Let the Hydra hit the floor. Let the Hydra hit the floor. Let the Hydra hit the floor. Let the Hydra hit the floor.
Amen to that.
So endeth my week. Tom, how was your week?
I don't know. It was a pretty uneventful week. And you're going to be like, because the thing is that, and again, this is the recurring issue. I think that I hit rank 1 when I was at work. I was just taking calls, and someone DMs me like, "Are you going for 1?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I'm bored. Like, I'm at work. I'm playing Hearthstone. I don't want to be here. I keep playing cards." And the thing is that, so I rediscovered this combo and I optimize it, and suddenly people start playing it, and I get DMs here, DMs there. It was really really overwhelming. The sniping, that kind of thing. It's cool. It's still cool to be able to do something like that, and I'm still defending it. Not currently. I fell off. I think that I went down to rank 80 something. Now I'm back at 5 or 6. So I have this problem where I'm like, is the deck good? Is it me that I'm good? That imposter syndrome thing hits you hard sometimes. But now I'm sure the deck is good, and people just suck at playing. Sorry. It's a true.
Or it's a combination of the deck being, pretty good and you being like pretty incredible. I mean, let's not discount that possibility.
Yeah, no, but stop. We run a card that is called Accelerator that says that your next mech is cheaper. Stop keeping it wagon in the mulligan.
Right?
People keep doing that, and then you make me look bad because I'm the one that put Midwagon in there. Yeah, with a draw engine that makes it cheaper, and people are like, you baited me. Like, no, you do the thing wrong. It's like if I give you the ingredients and I tell you like, okay, so here's how to cook a meal. And you grab the ground beef and you eat it raw, and you're like, this tastes horrible. Like, that's not my fault. I told you how to just make a fire and do you can do a hamburger or something. People are eating ground beef raw, and it's my fault. And now Hunter is under 50% win rate. Come on. It's not me. But no, I had a really awesome time talking with you about the deck, Schmoopy. That was also one of the things on my week. But the last thing that I did this week, besides this, which I'm having so much fun in here, was at work, because I'm the worst and the best worker you could possibly have. Again, my boss doesn't know that I play Hearthstone while I'm working. But I managed to extend. We had a meeting at 3:30 p.m. It was going to be 30 minutes up until 4 p.m. And I managed to extend it from 3:30 to 6 p.m.
Bro.
Bravo.
Bro. You're the worst. You're the actual worst. There are
Spot the
people
teacher.
cursing your name in that meeting. They're like, "Oh my God, Tom can stop talking anytime."
Oh,
And
no,
then
no, no,
there's
no.
Probably
You have, you are seeing me now. You see how I'm in a meeting environment.
sure.
Do you really think people wanted to leave? I'm
I
really
mean-
engaging. I was asking questions like, do you have any other questions for this? Like, do we move on to this other topic? Can you explain this a little bit better to me? And when the meeting was over, or was supposed to be over, I messaged my boss and I'm like, I just finished this meeting. Can we have a meeting, you and I now? Because we need to have a meeting about the meeting. And I managed to extend it another 40 minutes like that. So that I think, again, love dissecting the deck with you. I'm having such a blast having here, and I managed to extend a meeting for 2 hours. That's something else. Come on.
Wow.
Welcome to the news. The news is so good.
There's a mini set.
Yay!
Dr. Boom's incredible inventions. That's amazing. So, brand new mini set coming out. We have some tweets here. So, I'm going to call up something that was pasted on Twitter, or X, as the kids call it these days.
It's Twitter.
So, yeah, I know, right? Sheep, do you want to talk about Cora's tweet here?
Absolutely. So Cora dropped a few tidbits that she could remember about the mini set. So the first of those, of course, is that Gigantify is the reverse of Miniaturize. So for the uninitiated, Gigantify is kind of the opposite of Miniaturize. So Miniaturize gives you a 1-mana 1/1. That's pretty much the same thing. Gigantify gives you an 8-mana 8/8. So that's the history of or the context for what Gigantify is. Cora says that Gigantify is the reverse of Miniaturize, which meant we had to adjust our design philosophy. Instead of repetitive effects that are strong because they're cheap, we leaned into effects that are more exciting on a bigger minion, which we saw some of those with like the holy cards that were released today. Totally tracks. Tidbit 2. The set was supposed to be named Dr. Boom's Incredible Inventions, in parentheses, of Fun, in parentheses. We were asked to cut the of fun for length concerns. Tidbit 3. We referred to the mini set as internally as Misfit Toys at the beginning, and the design ID on each card is MIS_ for that reason.
I've got something to say.
Like the Misfits. I get it.
I don't. I'm too young.
You're older than I am. Tidbit 4. We considered giving Toy Rantus a blank text box for the memes. \S, which means, sarcasm. Tidbit 5. I believe the keyword gigantify/gigantic was originally suggested internally as a joke. We kind of ran with it. We don't usually introduce a new keyword in a mini set, but this one made sense. Tidbit 6. There's one specific art piece in this mini set that is a continuation of the story of an art piece in the main set. It's kind of messed up. I don't know who wrote the description, but they must have been going through it that day. And then, of course, our good friend Matt at Arms retweeted the one about Dr. Boom's Incredible Inventions of Fun, like minutes after Core did that thing, and said confirmation that they were required to cut fun out of the mini set. And of course, he clarified that was a joke because apparently some folks were not reading that as a joke.
This is a joke. Public
Player
service announcement.
skill issue for those people. So that's kind of like some behind the scenes info about the mini set, which I always really love whenever the devs give us this additional info on be it Twitter or any other kind of social outlets, because like, how else are we going to know this kind of stuff, right? Like the Gigantify stuff originally said as a joke, and then they're like, well, actually, we
can work with
let's run with it. Yeah. So big fan of whenever they do actually roll these out. The set itself, though, is coming up pretty quick. So the set itself releases, of course, they talk about the Gigantify keyword. There's some packs in there as well. And the mini set itself, let's see, do they
May 14th.
announce May 14th, which is next Tuesday. By the time we are doing our next episode, we will have been playing with the cards for the better part of a week. Excitement abounds.
So just chill.
I am excited
until the next episode
for the mini set, but and this is parentheses. It means that there's going to be a 2-week scheduling for THL, and every time we have one of those, it's so painful. Everything gets so delayed, and no one knows what's going on. And people go on vacation. I don't know what they do.
People procrastinate, and like you're responsible for 15 other people who are completely irresponsible.
You need to find like 4
called
songs.
I know.
And no one tells you. Just tell me. Just tell me. Someone told me like, oh yeah, I'm not playing.
You're supposed
Right?
to guess.
And on Wednesday is the deadline for comms. I just had to do the DQ. I was like, maybe I can play for Hero. I'm like, Tom, are you actually going to play for 3 series? What's wrong with you? And I had a moment of like realization.
No, it's so hard.
No, love the mini set, hate the schedule.
I remember
Yeah.
I remember giving, so if anyone knows Alien Santa, old school THL player, he was my captain 5-6 years ago, and I was going through a hard time. My grandpa was in hospice at the time, and I was playing THL, and I felt so bad for being like, oh, I don't know if I can play this week. Can we get a sub? Like all this stuff. And so that's like only one instance of what he's dealing with. There's like all these other people that scheduling all this stuff. Then there's actually like card releases and stuff. But I remember feeling like so horrible that it's like I committed to this thing, but then I had this family issue that was happening.
Yours was an emergency,
and,
right?
Yeah,
And
stuff
and you
happens.
told him what happened with me, and it's like the third time. It's the other captain who's like, "Hey, your player never replied to my player." I'm like, "What?" And I message the person. I'm like, "Oh yeah, I need a sub." Well, how was I supposed to know?
Yeah.
No,
Magic.
Hearthstone.
Right.
Magic.
Oh, you just
Well played.
sheep. You sheep.
I'm so proud.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, let's talk about a couple of the cards from this mini set that we've chosen to highlight. So, first up, we have Puppet Master Dorian. Schmoopiedady, you want to take it away on this one?
Sure, 4 mana, 2/6. After you draw a minion, get a 1/1 copy of that that costs 1. What could possibly go wrong? I've seen so many people salivate over this card already, including a certain special guest who is on the podcast right now. Don't give me that. You can tutor it with Oaken Summons, Malygos Druid player. I don't want to hear it from you, Tom. All right, there are. That's not the only way that it can be broken. I don't know how this is going to be broken, but I've seen a lot of Wild players get really excited about this card, whether it's with Plot Twist, whether it's with Gear Shift, just sort of like, minion tutoring and Rogue, just sort of goofy ways that you could possibly try to break this card open. I have a sneaking suspicion that the effect is strong enough and the stuff that we play is big and stupid enough that probably doesn't make it like the whole 2 years without, or what is it at this point? 18 months. Probably doesn't make the full 18 months, 20 months or so without getting touched in some way. I don't know. Tom, what do you think about it?
Yeah, no, it looks. I don't wanna say, oh, this is broken. Oh no, what have I done? But knowing how we behave, and you know what I mean by we. This is going to annoy so many people day one, because you know that someone is going to build a deck just like that. I don't know if you remember the Tavern Brawl where all the minions were 1/1s, and it was rogue against rogue, and you run Denathrius, you run Malygos, and a tiny pool of spells. Like, this is not that, but Rogue is known for doing silly things, and I'm already looking at it, and it has the green eyes and the curved eyelashes, just like I don't know what the race is. This is yeah.
Kel'Thas?
It's a
blood elf.
It's
Yeah.
Kel'Thas.
blood
Like,
elf.
I look at it, I'm like, you're so
Yeah.
getting banned. You're getting booed. Like, I'm sorry, dude. because just something as simple as having this and something that produces coins. If you have Shadow Step, that is already net positive value, right? This with just this mailbox dancer. This in an aggro deck, and you copy the Celiacs that costs 1 less and gives +1/+1 to the board. You're like, what are you doing? No.
Yeah, it's got 6 health too. Like, it's gonna like, that's the thing. It's like, it's not like somebody drops this, it's gonna be hard to remove it. Like, the 2 health can help with some targeting spells, but just in general, like, you're gonna have to sink 6 damage into it. To
Even
get rid
in
of it.
Wild, that is
And
hard.
you might not be in a position to do that.
Because we
Yeah.
have another famous 4-6, which is Okani. It is hard to remove because of the effect, but
Yeah.
even that, when you know
100%.
what Okani is doing, and you know you have the opposite thing to remove it, you're still sinking a lot of your things into that, and this is worse than Okani with
Or you-
what it does.
There's so many
This
times
is a tough.
too. Sorry,
I'm just saying this is a tough decision, like when you're playing aggro, right? Because you should be close to winning at this point. Like if you're playing aggro, right? So they're playing this on turn 4. So hopefully, on your turn, say it's turn 5, you can finish the game and completely ignore this. But if you've whiffed a bit, you're considering the bad word, which is trading, right? So you have to make the decision. Yeah, I know, right? To end this thing, because the next turn, like who knows what they got with the draw on this one. But I mean, if you're going aggro, you're gonna want to tend to ignore it, right? Because that's the entire point.
That's exactly what I was actually gonna say. So I'm gonna piggyback off of what you were saying. It's like the amount of times that I just basically ignore what Okani is, and I'm gonna make a decision to be like, I'm gonna sacrifice this to trigger the Okani, as opposed to trading damage into it, because I feel like it slows me down, or it's not worth full trading my board into. It's not worth trading 3 minions into 1 minion just to stop the effect. I'm just gonna say like, all right, if it's this, it's just gonna eat the spell, or it's just gonna eat the minion, what it is. This is a little bit different because I think when this hits the board, it's gonna be like, okay, we must insta kill this. Now, that being said, I feel like with cards like this, they tend to get undervalued initially because people say, oh, well, they just get removed. But you're forcing the opponent to remove it. And sometimes that pattern of play gets undervalued because it becomes so rudimentary to remove it that really good players say, I don't know, it just gets removed. It doesn't really get me any value. I don't know if it's really worth running. But I think like it's the threat that this gives in the right decks, which people will find eventually. And like if you don't think payoffs are coming, the way that these devs print cards, payoffs are coming for this.
They are
guarantee it. I mean, like you can do something dumb. You could do freaking like if you stick this into Timeline Accelerator into the 10 drop that makes 6/7s that go wherever the heck they want to go or whatever. Like you could drop those. Like you could do some really dumb things with this. I feel like it's just begging to be abused, and I think we're all on the same page.
And
as that.
it's neutral.
Completely agreeing.
And
Yeah.
it's neutral. You do it in every class.
That's what's scary, is that it's neutral, right?
To yes and all of that. Not only is it neutral, but okay, it can just be removed. So can the miniaturized, the mini that it miniaturizes. So can the gigantified minion. This is one card. You're forcing them to have 3 answers for the one deck slot that you put in there. I mean, you're automatically getting that card advantage from that. They have something to answer it. Cool. They don't. Awesome. Even better. You get value. And they have fewer answers to deal with your board, your mini or giant, your payoffs for those things. Like it's a good thing to try and make them run out of stuff if you can make them do that.
In Little League, we called that a cup check.
Kind of, yeah.
Sorry, sometimes I'm.
We won't go into the details of what that actually entails, but like it's just like do you have it or do you have it or do you don't? If you don't, you pay a price.
So I was right.
Anyway,
I was
the
thinking
next-
about someone.
Yeah,
You were
right.
correct. I'm sorry. It was an English to Spanish thing. Yes. No. Yes, you were correct.
You
were
said that, and
correct
I'm like,
in your
Yep.
assumption.
That is
on
someone
NIN.
kicking someone else in the. Oh, I'm right. Medical
Well,
culture. Yes.
well, we won't get
Not
into details.
necessarily a kick,
Anyway,
but
Bargain
yeah.
Bin is a great card. Let's look at this card.
What a bargain. So Bargain Bin is a hunter secret. Of course, that means it's 2 mana. Secret, after your opponent plays a minion, spell, or weapon, draw a card of the other 2 types. So if they play a minion, you draw a spell and weapon. Spell, then you draw a minion and a weapon. If they play a weapon next, you draw a minion and spell.
So it's a 2-mana draw 2.
Yeah.
Tom has not seen all these cards,
pretty
so
good.
I'm intently
That's-
studying his face as the cards are revealed. Sorry, go ahead, Hydra.
I was just saying this is draw for Hunter, right?
Yeah.
So that's
And-
cool.
Sure is.
Kind of targeted-ish draw too, because like how many people are going to play a weapon after this? If you want a weapon, you pretty much got it, and then you've got like a coin flip on whether you're getting like a minion or a spell on top of it. That's
Yeah,
just
'cause
great.
Obviously, like weapons are less, popular like in your deck, right? There's a much lower chance your opponent's playing a weapon, so you're gonna get that spell, you're gonna get that minion. I think it's really cool. You can definitely play this into a certain meta and sort of like get it. It's kind of what you want, right? I think it's really cool, and I think it's something that Hunter is definitely gonna utilize. I don't think this is just a dead card. I think this is good.
What do you think, Tom?
No, this one.
Yeah.
Sorry to spoil you. This one I had actually seen,
okay.
because Zach Hyperion immediately said, "Egg."
Egg.
Egg.
Again, because we are it's been a week and we are still like, what about this? What about this? What about this? Again, we just like it. There's so much refinement going there that it's like it doesn't fit. Stop trying to put this that. And we ended up going like, now this can draw what you don't want. But one deck that immediately screamed at me when I looked at this card was infamous, non-real, but maybe real, because we never know what's going on in Wild, even Hunter. Because it runs, some variations run up to 4-6 weapons, you run a lot of minions and you run a lot of spells. It is almost even in that category, so you know you're getting something out of this. You know you're getting your 2, and even Hunter, some run Mad Scientist, some run Face Stalker, so you like secrets in that deck. And some people run, I think it's, maybe I'm getting confused with the druid spell, but I think it's Ferocious Howl. The draw
Yeah. Yep.
2 mana, draw
I think
3
so.
cards, or up to 3 cards if your hand is empty. People are drawing that because that deck is famously dumping their hand and suddenly being like, no what? And this is nice to have to refill. So I think that it could see a play in that deck if that deck becomes a thing. That I cannot tell you.
Right.
I feel like this is kind of a forever Hunter card. Like this feels like the kind of card that gets introduced, and I don't know exactly where it slots in, but if the most powerful mechanic in any card game is card draw, this does that. If tutoring is equally a powerful thing, this does that. Well, to my mind, the first thing that popped into my mind was like Beast Hunter, maybe. Like, I know you don't necessarily run things that produce secrets, but you could always run a one of Face Stalker. There's always a little bit of flex in that list. Or even just playing it on 2. Guaranteeing that you get a harpoon gun on 3 is kind of like nuts to me. Like in harpoon gun plus, maybe the only spell that you're playing is Serpent Bloom or something like that. So like you always have whenever you get your Dread Scale is always online. I don't know how people are going to build with it, but this just feels like a very strong draw engine for Hunter. And I know we don't always run weapons in Hunter, but it almost feels strong enough that like you start finding an excuse to run weapons in order to play this secret, because I think this has like rigged fair game type vibes from me.
Right.
What can you really do to play around this? Like
You can't, because you're playing. You have to like it. It's not like if you play your opponent plays a spell, and that's it, right? It's not counterspell. It's not if your opponent plays a minion and it gets sniped, right? Like it's not.
You kind of just play whatever card. Like if you're the opponent, you play whatever card you're gonna play, and then like you as the hunter draw what you want to draw in that situation. And like given a meta, like you can start like crafting your list to be like, well, I'm always gonna get this. Like they're gonna play this, I'm only gonna get it. It feels like just like kind of a dirty card. What are you gonna say?
I'm gonna hit you with the actually, you play a hero card.
Yeah, they could play a hero card.
Or location.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. So where my mind originally went with this, and this is kind of to yes and Tom's Even Hunter. Even Hunter, of course, but super duper secret heavy, right? We can use some standard technology. Starstrung Bow is a 6-mana 6/2 weapon that costs 1 less for each friendly secret that has been triggered this game. So it can very quickly become a 3-mana 6/2 weapon. It could very quickly become a 2, 1, or 0-mana 6/2 weapon. And with the secret that we're bargain
bin.
Tabbed over. Bargain bin. Thank you. With Bargain bin, we can tutor the weapon, which tutoring the weapon has always kind of been a little tricky in Even Hunter in particular. No longer really an issue.
Didn't that got nerfed to a 5/2? Sorry.
It's a 5/2. Yep.
Yeah, it
it
got
is
nerfed
now?
to a 5/2.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. He says.
It's still nasty.
But
It's still very
It's
good.
still a 6,
But still
it's still
even
possibly
costed,
a 0
yeah?
mana Pyroblast. That was another card
Right.
that comes to mind as just like, oh well, I can get Starstrung Bow with that. Yeah, 100%.
And of course, whenever I was pulling it up, it defaulted to
The unnerved version.
the unnerfed version because it was hearthstone.fandom instead of hearthstone.wiki.gg, the new one, which is the one that's actually being updated. So that tracks.
What a foolish mistake. Gosh.
Again, don't ask me
I
a
know.
lot about a lot of things, but I'm like, for whatever reason, I was like, that got nerfed. And the reason I knew that it got nerfed, and you're going to laugh at me, is because that card was always mentioned every time you mention Even Hunter, and in my icky brain, it was like, this is an even weapon in an even deck.
Oh, because
with even attack
we always say
and
that.
even durability, but now it doesn't fit. So it's icky.
Yeah, now it doesn't because it says 5.
And that's the
so
only reason
funny.
that I know it was nerfed, because my brain is like,
That makes
it
sense.
doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
We used to judge every single card, whether it was odd or even. That was kind of like, for the longest time, what is
Yeah.
it?
And not for nothing, I would never run Starstrung Bow because it would be like you're basically banking on drawing it. Like you're not running Instrument Tech to go get Starstrung Bow and Even
No.
Hunter, right? Like that's just not worth it. This is an easy way to not only discount it but also tutor it. So like Sheep was
Right.
saying. So like it starts making sense. It starts making a lot of sense. And so that's just, I don't know. I think it's a
Yeah, no,
nasty card.
and to close the idea on Even Hunter is a deck that has tutor for the tutor for the tutor for the tutor, which is something that not many
Perfect.
decks do, which is my issue when I was doing the thing that I did. But Even Hunter has this thing where you run the 2-mana spell, draw a beast, gets it to +3/3, and the only beast you
Scavenger
run
Ingenuity, yep.
is Face Stalker, and Face Stalker gets you the secret, and the secret gets you the weapon, and it goes from there.
And you start building an engine around that. Yep. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
It's
Well-
Russian dolls, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. Well, speaking of Hunter and speaking of secrets, this one isn't even. This one's odd, but introducing Mysterious 9. I mean, Product 9. So this is a 5-mana 4/4 mech beast. Battle cry, cast every friendly secret that triggered this game. So unlike Mysterious Challenger that would just cast all the secrets, right? This is kind of after you've done the entire thing and after they've all triggered, you get to just, make the tree all over again kind of thing. And it's, yeah. But this is odd, so this would have to go into just a regular deck. Obviously not an even deck. How do we feel about this one? Tom, do you want to start on this one?
You can actually make Odd Hunter because there is I think there are 2 cards that are a hunter that says discover spell and something else. if you
wouldn't
wanna-
do it
Reaching.
though. You wouldn't do
Reaching.
it though.
No, you wouldn't do it, but
I mean,
but
you
for a
would,
second,
and
I
then you'd
thought
give
you,
it
you
to
were
me
going
on
to say,
stream, and you'd make me play it, and you'd be like, "All right, Schmoopy, go win a game
Yeah,
with this
there we
crap."
go.
There we go.
Yeah. No, but
Perfect
for a second, I thought
Schmoopiedady
you were
stream
going to make
card.
the joke of, oh yeah, no, this goes in Odd Hunter. I'm like, does it though? The thing I really like the flavor because this is of course a remake because this set is a remake of classical cars. Bargain Bin not necessarily, but Product 9 is a remake of Subject 9, which if you don't know it, I don't blame you, and we can leave that card at that. And we have Puppet Master Dorian, which is from Doll Master Dorian, which Doll Master Dorian so play in at least 2 meta decks, all Warlock because silly things.
Yes.
But the thing is that I really like it, but I think it's in such a weird place. We are probably going to see this card tells me that we're going to see secret cheating for Hunter because it's a 5 mana card. You would need to coin a secret, then secret. So turn 1 secret, turn 2 secret, turn 3 secret, and what else you do? Turn 4 you can play 2 secrets. And then this card has value. But that means that you draw 5 secrets at the start of your mulligan was 5 secrets. That makes it a little bit iffy for it to be the Christmas tree that I want it to be. But if we get the right amount of secret cheat, I think this card could be one of those classic. Why is Face Hunter running this, especially in standard? Why is Hunter running this, and suddenly they go. You know the sound that it makes, like.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, yeah, and you're going to be like, not again, I'm dead, aren't I? But I think it's really interesting if we get the right combination. This on turn 5 is just going to be, oh no, they refilled again. You know?
I don't think you have to do a Christmas tree. I think if you get 2 of the right secrets in the right matchup, it's fine. I mean, like, if you are getting Explosive Trap and Wandering Monster plus a 5 mana 4/4 in some matchups, that kind of ends things. Or if you're it might even make you think about what secrets you're running in Wild. Right now, one of the best decks is Garrote Rogue, and one of the things that people are trying to do the most is sort of disrupt the boat turns. If you're running like something like Ice Trap and Explosive Trap, and then you drop this down, and you're repeating that can screw up a combo turn. Not only that, like, it does have a mech tag. Like, we can timeline accelerator this and we can tutor this. So this was one of the cards that I was seeing that people were talking about a lot. Notably, Corbett in his own Discord mentioned that, like, this and Mystery Egg is kind of intriguing, because if you can find a way of, like, just sort of chaining a couple of these in a row, it's a little bit annoying if you get the right secret combination. That seems a little involved for me. I think, like, especially if we've seen. I don't have to tell Tom. Like, it seems like it's a really big package to build around Mystery Egg in and of itself. So that seems
No.
a little bit
What I was going to say, and you can tell me shots fired, is that I know Corv is not a believer in Egg Hunter. He saw the deck and was like, oh, this looks promising, and he played it and he was like, nope, this deck sucks. So he doesn't believe in the deck. I'm a little bit disappointed. So yeah, if he wants to run egg with Product Knight as the payoff, that's fine. He's
Good work.
way better than me at the game. But he doesn't believe in the core value of the egg, you know. So
The huevo.
and I'm just mean. But this, and you remember it's something in Wild. This and Tavish I really
Yes.
like.
Yes. 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 It will. Again, it's any friendly secrets triggered. So like if you Observer of Mysteries or for standard and sometimes Wild, depends on how desperate you are in Wild of finding funny tech cards. But Tavish, notably, like this will replay Tavish's upgraded secrets. So you could get not only Explosive Trap, but upgraded Explosive Trap. So you get 5 AoE and a 5 mana 4/4, which is kind of gross and fun. I don't know. Like I could see it. I could see it finding play in Highlander Hunter. I could see some decks trying to build around it. I don't know if I'd rate it as like a stellar card or an amazing card as far as just like card quality goes, but it feels very good to me. And I think the community kind of rates it as very good, and thus we talk about it as if it's very good.
Let's move on to Part Scrapper. So, what warrior mana cheat? What's going on? So, 2 mana spell for warrior, Part Scrapper. Lose up to 5 armor. Your next mech costs that much less.
Bloodlings were really excited about this in like Bomb Warrior. There's like a 10 mana Bomb Warrior minion that that just came out that we're not going to highlight because it's Bomb Warrior in Wild. And they just made it so that half the Highlander cards in existence don't even care about Bomb Warrior anymore. So that's a thing. Thank you, Blizzard. Anyway, but this is a cute way to trigger some sort of expensive mechs. There's another mech that, again, we're not going to highlight tonight, but is one that came out today that's like a 5 mana, make a mini, also make a Gigantify. If you play a minion with the same attack as this minion, again, if it's a mini, a 5/5, or a Gigantify, you get an extra copy. Surely there's some ways to abuse it. This is a way to play it for free, or I shouldn't
Don't
say
call
for
me
free.
Shirley.
For 2 mana. I'm sorry. I apologize. This is a way to play it for 2 mana, and then come up with some goofy combo to combo it with. This is just the amount of mana cheat, and you're giving it to warrior of all things, and so somebody dumb is going to do something dumb with it. And so that's basically what the community has sort of come to as far as Part Scrapper goes. But I thought it was worth bringing up because, again, people were cooking this. This was something that got people excited about cooking. And so, like, that's was sort of the criteria that I was using as far as, like, okay, well, what were we going to highlight for Wild relevant? This makes that sort of Wild relevant.
Tom, do you have any thoughts on Part Scrapper?
I tried to fit that somewhere. But the thing is that I don't see it as an aggro. Like you could be thinking of, oh, I want to play mech. So we had mech paladin or mage or mech hunter, mech warrior. Doesn't sound like something real. So I'm like, this is going to be a combo piece in a combo deck, and I'm gonna do a cheat or of something, but I couldn't find, because again, I think that Schmoopied knows this. I didn't really watch what was being revealed, but the cards that were chosen for this episode by chance, and this is not because I asked for it, are ones that I had already seen. I couldn't find what mech I wanna be like, yeah, this is the one that this is going to allow this archetype to be a tier 4.
What about Ziliax and like expensive Ziliax? Like 8 mana, elusive, rush, poisonous, reborn, divine shield, taunt, lifesteal. That costs 3 now. That doesn't have any mana sheet other than this card. Maybe Juggernaut costs 1. You can pair it with Bran on 4. They've made a bunch of
Mechathune.
They've made a bunch of well, I don't know about Mechathune because I think Chemical Spill actually does that better, right? You want the 5 damage to it, otherwise you got to use both Shield Shatters. Also, Mechathune Warrior is a fake deck, so that
That's
also
why I
has
said
that
it like
issue.
that.
There's also that
Right.
issue where it's just like I refuse to
I
believe
was
that deck is
joking.
real.
No, but
Because
the
it's
I
thing is that,
agree.
ahead,
as you
Tom.
said, the thing is that the cards that you mentioned are not in a mech deck, so this is not an aggro card, and are not combo cards, right? Except for Mechathune.
It's only like a
But
luxury piece. Yeah.
you have better You have better ways of cheating it. This looks like a value card that I could see run on
Yeah.
Reno Warrior or on a Control Warrior, but it doesn't have a home for an icon type. It's an added value to something you already wanted to do. For example, this in Reno Warrior in Standard right now, um, and let's ignore what we all think is going to happen to Bran. But this allows you to play the Celiacs with Lifesteal earlier, and you can do the combo the way that it's meant to be done, which would be I play Celiacs and then I play Boom Master. No, no Boom Master. The one that resurrects the mechs and they go.
I know what you're talking
Face.
about. Yeah, the something Master Boom. Yeah.
Master Boom, Master Boom.
Or the other way.
So
I don't know. Whatever.
so that this allows you to do the combo in the most efficient mana order, because you play the minion and you can play exactly on curve the 8 mana card. Now what you do is you keep the 8 mana card in hand, you play the 9 mana, and then on turn 10 you play this.
It's worth to mention it's a banking effect. Once you pay the 2 mana and the 5 armor, like the next mech, regardless of what turn it is, it's going to cost 5 less. So that's a persistent, powerful effect. You can cash in on it when you want to cash in on it, which makes it, again, if it, like Tom is saying, it's kind of a little bit of a luxury card, a little bit of a Lexus, but you could do some fun things with it, and you can allow that to carry over. So, I think that was card was interesting. That card created a lot of buzz among the wild community, trying to figure out what can we do this, how can we break this the most. I think we got one more card.
We do. We have Twisted Pack. So this is oh great, look, a 1 mana rogue spell.
Yep.
Add 5 random cards from other classes to your hand at the end of your turn. Discard them.
Poof.
Thoughts?
0 mana null.
Oof.
Turn 1.
Yep.
0 mana null.
Turn 1.
0 mana obsidian
Shard. Yep.
Yeah. 0 mana Bazaar Burglar. I mean, sorry. You complete Bazaar Burglary for 1 mana, but that card's bad. But like people will do it. This got a lot of. I don't know how good this is going to be, but this got a lot of people cooking today. Like this was revealed, and people were like, "Okay, how thief do we make thief rogue? How because." When Shell Game came out, Shell Game essentially made it like, oh yeah, we can play Knolls and Rogue again. We can try to do like a thiefy thing. And Velarok got nerfed from a 3/6 to a 3/3, and that really hurt in Wild. But at the same time, it's still one hell of a payoff. And Sheep, I think you can attest to that. I mean, you played a deck with him to Legend, like
yeah,
he's
like
still a
this
beating,
week.
especially if it sticks. This allows you to play again 0 mana Knolls starting 1. You could play these coin Finley, and now you're drawing 5 cards plus whatever else is in hand. Like there's a lot of cute little combos you can do.
I don't think Rogue is in need of draw, but
no. But if you're not going to be doing like toy boat stuff, like let's say you are doing like a pure thief build, this is like yet more redundant draw, because draw is the most powerful mechanic in a card game, right? So like it's
Right.
it's-
No, but even
It's
without
goofy.
toy boat, the top offenders are currently in rogue, because again in the tier 1 you have Garrote, where you have Miracle, which doesn't run boat, and you have Kingsway, which doesn't have boat. Top offenders are Gear Shift and Secret Passage. So it is redundant, yes. Is it still like this is such a card that it's either this is useless, or you refill your hand, and this is probably going to interact funky with Secret Passage, because I know it will, Spaghetti Cobble and all of that.
Yeah, I think I heard Zach say that if you secret passage and then rip this, these will discard before the end of the secret passage. But like if you were to passage, rip this, then passage, you will keep the cards. Maybe ? Like it's weird. it's it's odd.
And or this feels like the
It is. It only
classic
costs one.
get free, what is the name? We play Hearthstone, not Monopoly. Free get out of jail. Where
good.
you're like 1 mana, and you're going to be like, haha, my rogue opponent has only 1 card, and they drop this, and you're like, no,
No.
not more value, stop it.
So yeah, I mean that's the thing too. Is like they are temporary copies, but this is a class that has coins in prep. They can possibly make use of it. So I don't know how this is going to get built or how this is going to get abused, but this is a
It will,
lot of
because it's
value for
rogue.
1 mana. It will because
Yeah.
it's rogue. Smile, and it's like it's 5 cards for 1 mana. Like it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy, and it lets us play. Lets us play Knowles again. Let's
Can't
play
wait to
Knowles again.
lose to fight about 5-volt frost bolt from this. C'est la vie, you know.
All right, and we still have
I
a meta
do
report
also-
to break down.
we
And a
do
bot
so
ban.
yeah we'll get there. I just wanted to say one quick thing, and I know that when we talk about the art, it usually means it's bad, but I love the card pack that's on here. It's super neat. It's sort of old godsy Kraken. There's like a net in there, and yeah, I think it's really cool. I haven't seen this one in gold yet, but it's pretty cool. I like that.
I
like that a
love
lot.
the jade green they chose for the water at the background.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's and I do like to point out that like when sometimes, because that's a theme of when we talk about the art in our card reviews, that it sort of meant it was a quote unquote bad card, but I do want to sort of like pay some respects to the people that do the art for all this, because I know there's a lot of work that goes into all the art on this card, on these cards, and this one's super cool, so I appreciate that. But yes, let's get into our last piece of news that we have here, and then we'll touch on the meta report. So May 2024 bot ban update. So this is from know what I'm saying. The community manager posting on the official Blizzard forums. Hey everyone, I'm back again with another quick bot ban update. Since our last update, we've actioned nearly 110,000 additional accounts. We'll continue to take action against these abusive accounts to make the tavern a more fair and more fun place for all our players. We'll see you in the tavern. So that's another 110, and it says additional. I don't know if that means outside of other accounts that they've done before. I don't know if they track IPs or however it works, but that's super cool. So they're staying on top of it, trying to keep those bots low. It's not, I mean, it depends on what you like playing against, but if you're actually trying to get better at the game and want a real opponent when you're on the ladder and everything, running into bots isn't exactly the best way to test your skill. and that sort of stuff. It does make for an easier climb sometimes, but if you want that real player experience, versing bots constantly isn't really doing that for you. So thank you to the Team 5 for staying on top of this. Any comments on the bot bans?
Two things for me. One, I've seen some people in some discourse being like, I miss the bots. I miss free ranks. Like they miss playing the even shine. I kind of get that. Like I miss being able to just sort of queue up control paladin and knowing that I could just farm even shaman bots to legend with like an 80% win rate. I mean, sure, that's great and all, but at the same time, like it's a more authentic experience without them. The game is healthier without them. And this is like a constant message, a constant trickle of being like, okay, guys, like we're in this for the long haul. If you're gonna keep making these, we're gonna keep making it annoying for you to make these. And it's an interesting like standoff that we're seeing right now. I hope one day we're not doing this podcast and we're not saying, hey, remember when they were doing all the updates about how many bots they were banning? And then we're up to our eyeballs in bots. And that this is like a long-term policy shift and that they keep it going and that they're not going to back down and that the people who do this regularly for the reasons that they do them, which we've covered on other shows, get bored and move on or what have you. I mean, that's basically all I got to say on that subject.
Yeah, while I was doing my free-to-play run, I saw a fair number of bots and reported them whenever I did, because, I was new account, so it was still trying to matchmake me, just like it was trying to matchmake the bots. So the fact that they're continuing the good fight, the good fight is still going on. And yeah, I hope that it becomes too annoying for the bot makers, facilitators, whatever you call them, operators, to eventually get bored and move on, kind of like you were saying, Schmoopy.
What if those were the intentional bots made by the team?
They weren't, because if you look at your friends list, you can see if it was a person or a Blizzard bot. I ran into a few Blizzard bots as well, as is expected with a new account. It's trying to gauge your prowess with the game. The ones that I reported were not Blizzard bots.
And adding to this, sort of connecting with the next topic, because I know what's going on. Even Shaman is no longer a tier 1, destroy everything, run you down, doesn't matter if you are this or that deck, that it also helps. So you on one side you have the shift in the meta, and at the same time you have the ban wave, and it's been a really healthy transition, because you had the issue that there was such a mass of bots that were getting stuck at certain ranks at some point, and you were like, okay, I need to break out of this to be able to face real players. And before that, and I think that I'm going to, not like you, I'm yet to have kids, but I think that I'm going to tell my children about the time that Corv made a video facing a bot in rank 30 in Legend, because that's insane. The deck was so powerful that it could do that. And that is not because, this guy programmed a really good bot. No, the deck was in such a spot in the meta that was just, and they didn't even have to touch it. That's the amazing thing. It's just naturally with the ban wave and how the meta shifts. Because I proposed, I was like, you know what we should do? And I'm sorry to all the rulers out there, just ban Gen from Shaman. And that's it. Move on. I'm sorry.
Could make it a dual, one of those like tri-class cards or dual class cards or something, like make it only for certain classes that can run Gen. That'd be funny.
And this kind of leads us into, I think, we got the Tempo Storm report next, right?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's pop right into the Tempo Storm. So Yeah,
It's the
let's talk about
the
tier 1.
super quick
What do
and
we got?
dirty Tempo Storm breakthrough.
Hey kid,
Thank you.
I hear you like Rogue.
Yeah, I hear you like Rogue. It's worth noting that the top, they put 6 decks in tier 1, and of those 6 decks in tier 1, we have Garrote Rogue, Pirate Rogue, Even Paladin, Egg Hunter. Wonder who made that. Kingsbane Rogue and Miracle Rogue as the top 6 decks, and so of course it's like Rogue Stone, right? Something I do have to say though, I think, as far as you were just talking about the even Shaman bot discussion, you can't make a Garrote Rogue bot. That'd be very hard to do. There are some humans that have a tough time playing Garrote Rogue, and it does feel like the best deck to me. Tom, I know you play a ton of it.
Yeah, it's there on the. I think it's there on one of the screenshots. I'm pretty sure. It's
I think it
under.
was. I think it was like was that the Copper Rogue or something like that?
Yes, yeah, it's probably 300 games as well. Yeah, no, I love how you said that even some humans have problems playing this deck, and I was thinking, what if Garrote Rogue is the true Turing test?
It's
Right.
true.
Yeah.
It might be. It might be. You can't just spam the minions and like expect to get there. I've seen people try. Ironically, I've actually seen people try to bot this again in my travels down into the bad MMR, down in gold and whatnot. Well, it's very funny because they play things out of order. They'll play their boat last or something like that. Like, that sounds good. Like all right, this bot's clearly just playing green cards and hoping that like it gets there. It's like tempoing Garrotes on 2. I'm like bold move, Cotton, bold move. And so it's critically, I would say, other than like Rogue looks like it's in such a strong position, I'd almost argue the top 3 decks in this meta report belong a tier in their own. And I personally would not include Pirate Rogue in that tier. I don't think Pirate Rogue is as good as it's listed on the Tempo Storm report. And I think that is pretty much my only gripe that I can find here. And I'm willing to hear arguments otherwise. But like Pirate Rogue feels like it gets dunked on by Even Paladin. It does well into Egg Hunter. And we can't always think about like, okay, well, how do these decks do into each other? Because that doesn't always factor into things. And I understand that Treasure Distributor is busted. And that's why a big reason why Garrote Rogue is tier 1. And in my opinion, probably the best deck in the format right now. But everything else that Pirate Rogue does feels so fair that it's really kind of riding that. I think it's what Tom's making a face. I think Pirate Rogue is fair, Tom, because I play a bunch of jank that beats up on tiny little spindly.
Right. No, but you said
tiny
you said,
little
you didn't say
spindly-
Pirate Rogue. You said Rogue is fair.
Oh, well, no, the Pirate Rogue is fair.
That's a different thing because I'm looking at it and like. You
No,
said
not Rogue.
Rogue
No,
is
not
fair,
Rogue.
And I'm
not
like
Rogue.
looking at it. There are 4 decks.
No,
in
no,
tier
sorry.
one. What is he talking about?
Pirate Rogue
Yeah.
specifically, I think is such a fair deck, and I was watching a really cool discussion in a Discord between some players that I respect that was talking about how like the more decisions you have to make in a deck, the more like skill based it becomes, and thus like less skill-based decks end up giving you this feeling of if things aren't going in your favor, you start feeling helpless playing them, right? And Pirate Rogue always gives me those feels these days. Like I
Yes.
feel so much more helpless playing Pirate Rogue than I do any of these other decks. Any of these other decks, I feel like I have agency and I have options and I have things to do. Pirate Rogue feels to me like it doesn't belong up here at the top tier. Well, but what were you gonna say, Tom?
So I agree that that there should be an asterisk in some of these decks because and it's weird because it's not in the order that you mentioned them, but I think that Garrote Rogue, Egg Hunter and Miracle Rogue have two different kinds of playstyle. And this is not even going into deck list or anything like that, but these three decks ha- have a certain skill cap to be unlocked. Because Garrow Rogue, you can dump your hand, you can do the pirate thing, and if they deal with it and don't die, then you do the demon. You play the Garrote, you draw a couple cards, and they explode. But good Garrote players are going to be doing the two things at the same time. They're going to be switching tempo all the time, going from combo to aggro, um, playing on the defensive, or going like in some matchups. You don't have the boat. It doesn't matter. You play the pirates for tempo and you play like an aggro, until if they deal with it, you go back, and suddenly you start playing on the defensive, and you become a combo deck.
Right.
But if
Yeah,
they
it
if
shifts
they
identity
if
so
they
easily.
start, right, if they start respecting the combo, you can switch again and go full aggro again. Um, so this needs a category on its own. Egg Hunter as well, because again, and I've seen it because I spectated some of our friends that asked me for the list, and I was like, ooh, you know, because everyone is like, oh, I keep me wagon, I keep the egg, um, and if it sticks and you play a spell, you do the board thing, um, and I taught a couple players. I don't want to say that I taught them, but they asked me like, "How do you do the thing?" Or they spectated me or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
there are so many lines on how to play a mid wagon on turn 3, and on the same turn get the full board of Fukurans. If you know how to do exactly the pop-offs where you trigger the chain instead of just tempoing a mid wagon and hoping it doesn't die or it dies
Or
and
hoping
the
the
egg
egg doesn't
sticks.
die. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Right.
because again, you can do the funny thing where they're like, oh, I play the egg on 4 if I coin it, or 3 if I coin it with carrion. But playing the deck optimally, it's on another skill level. And Miracle Rogue as well. They perform completely different. So I would argue those three. I would put Garou Rogue, Egg Hunter, and Miracle Rogue at the top of the tier, and then even Paladin, probably Pirate Rogue, and Kingsman. And the reason I think Pirate Rogue goes at the bottom is not for what you said, but the reason, and it belongs here, is that currently the deck is across all matchups and across spread of what you could face from bronze to legend. The deck is still performing at a rate that is kind of disgusting. Like it can run you down if you're a control deck. It can out tempo you if you're an aggro deck. It can do things too quick, too powerful, and it doesn't care. It just runs you down, even if the skill cap is low. And that's why I think it belongs there. And the reason they put it in tier two, and I think it's fair, is because if we don't take into account the high skill cap of Garrote, Egg, and Miracle across all matchups, Pirate Rock is going to be up there.
Right there. All right. That's fair because like I know that whenever I queued into Pirate Rogue on my climb this month, I was celebrating. I was like, yes! Like, if I saw a swordfish, I was so happy because whatever I was playing picked on it. Like a big brother picks on a little brother. Like, it was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to just lean on these guys. They're not going to know what's coming. And sometimes they got me. But they got me 1 out of, like, 4 times. So it felt like a deck you could bully. And because it felt
Right,
like a
but
deck you could bully,
no, of
you know,
course, but you also need to move yourself from your perspective. Um,
yeah.
because it would be the same thing if I were to hard run Skulking Geist and say J Jaman, Shade Druid, that deck is awful. I always win against it because I play decks that are meant to kind of eat at it. It would be like me saying, because I play Egg Hunter and I chew on Miracle Rogue, saying, oh, Miracle Rogue is bad, right? And that's not fair because Miracle Rogue will run anything to the ground, but I'm playing the one deck that it performs well against.
I ran Pirate Rogue so far this month. I didn't play a whole lot, but I'm 17-9 this season with it, which is a 65%, which is not horrible, right? Like a 65% is yeah, it's low for Wild, right? Is that what we say? But yeah, so it's
Not to be toxic.
a 65.
Not to be toxic.
Yeah, 65%, 17-9. So it's still a good deck, right? So I understand why it's up there, and as you guys say, obviously it's not the highest skill cap deck. I always enjoy it early season because, you know, aggro, rank up, that kind of thing. But I think it's still performing extremely well.
I just worry that it's like a flat track bully, which is almost an English term for a racing horse that, like, if in perfect conditions, it beats up on every other horse because in perfect conditions it wins. And so, like, I wonder if it's just like a jank buster or a noob stomper sometimes, and it gets too much credit for that. But maybe it should get that credit because this is a meta report, not just for the top end of the most engaged players, but also all players. And so putting it up in tier 1 tells me if I'm 6x in gold, I should probably be making Pirate Rogue because I'm going to be cutting through all the jank and the greed and the less serious players, and this is going to do an admirable job of that. And maybe that's the function of this report, because there is a certain amount of politics that does come into building the report together. Again, me personally, I wouldn't rate Pirate Rogue that high, but I do respect the fact that, again, we know the people who put the Tempest Storm report together. They're our buddies, they're our friends, and we, in general, agree in a lot of places. And usually if you go in, you question them, and you're nice about it, and they know you, like, they'll give you very honest answers of just like, yes, we put this here because we can't just drop it a tier just off of one report. Like, it wouldn't shock me if Pirate Rogue becomes tier 3 next report based off of performances I've seen. I wouldn't surprise me if it stayed there as well for the aforementioned reasons of, like, it is a jank buster. Yeah.
That's the word that I was just going to pick on. You call it a jank buster, and I remember you had a similar argument once we were discussing a tempo report where you're like, why is Secret Mage up here? And it was the same kind of argue back and forth that we're doing now, which is like, because it's a police deck, basically.
Yeah.
The problem with Rogue is that you see Pirate Rogue up there, and you're like, how can this be a police deck when there are other rogues here? If it was a single one, you could be like, oh, so this is the police deck. And that's why you get this feeling of, is it up here because it is a police deck, or is it back here because it's Rockstone? And I think it's a little bit of both, but more so on the end of the same reason we previously had Secret Mage on tier 1 for a couple reports, and you're like, but I just play around the secrets. Yeah, but general population will get scared if they see a cannoneer with more than 3 attack, right? That's the idea.
Yeah.
Well, and I wasn't expecting my climb with Pirate Rogue to go so smooth. Like I said, I had over like a 66% win rate. Like, and that was
You were
from
playing a goofy list.
5 to legend. Yeah.
You were playing a fun list.
And, part of that could be that because I was playing the fun list, that, like, there were more discovers, and, there were different kind of, exactly, more agency, more ins and outs, more things to, like, play around to get there, essentially. That's one possibility. Another possibility is just, I mean, the deck gets there very frequently. I was joking that, I was thanking Tom for popularizing the deck because, I had such an easy climb, but, I don't think it was just because the Huron Hunter was more prolific and people were just learning it. Some of the wins were attributed to that. Don't get me wrong. But I was playing against Miracle Rogues who were playing Miracle Rogue with fair proficiency. They were doing what they were trying to do, and then I would continue beating them in the face, right? And sometimes they got there too. So it's consistent. It gets there. You can just get there super quick. If there's a slower deck, you can just get there before they can sometimes, right? So I don't think that it's, a bad deck. I don't know that it's, tier 1. But I think it's at, low tier 1, high tier 2, I think is a fair place to put it. And if I recall correctly, that's about where they've got it. So, yeah.
All right. Any final thoughts on the meta report?
Not really, because when and I know it's Rockstone, but and again, I managed to get a list on the report. I'm up there,
You're up there, dude.
hey.
Yeah.
And funny enough, and the reason I'm twice as much up there is because I was talking to NHL, because I talk to him very often, and they made an article before they did the tempo report because of the nerfs, and the article is 11 most broken decks of all time, and he sent me a message. We were talking about something else, and he was like, "You know what? I was just going to put a list you made on that article until I realized it was a net deck and you changed one card." and and I didn't mean to do it, but when now I deconstructed Huron Hunter, and I was like, no, you add this and you add this because this, and again, if you want a full description of why those 40, and the only change I made after 120 games is I changed Barak to Nathanos, because it's another egg. It's on Schmoopiedadi's channel, on YouTube. So again, no one had my 40s, and I didn't took it as a challenge, but I kept joking with him, and I'm like, now there's no list. If you put a hunter there, you don't have the data for another list. And he was actually, I know he was joking, but he was actually half mad at me because I played so much of the deck that on a couple days on HS Replay, it was showing us Midwagon was 80% of all Hunter decks. and NHL is like, oh, people are playing your list. And then I showed him my deck tracker as I showed you. And you see the times played, and you see my deck, and how many games I have. And he was like, wait, it's all you? I cannot use it. I cannot use this data because it's just you. And he had to wait a couple days more for the deck to pick up, for the data to be more real, because I was not only I was the database, the bare minimum, I was the whole spectrum. So he couldn't find any other list even if he wanted to. So I managed to make it, and not with a deck that I net deck with aggregation on my own. And what I was going to add is that when you go to tier 2, you just see Reno decks because people love them. But the meta is pretty straightforward on what's on the tier 1. But knowing that there are Reno decks on tier 2 means that we are currently on a healthy meta, in my opinion,
Yeah.
because it means that people can play and toy a little bit with their jank. Although I will say I despise Shadow Shaman.
Agreed.
Maybe it has to do
Preach.
with the Mama Bear thing. I'm still like,
Still
there.
grumpy about that. Going back.
But I,
No, but
I
you-
hate it. But the thing is that
Scarred.
I've taken like I don't want to use the H word, but I've taken Shadow Shamans hostage with Egg Hunter because I can like with 40 cars, I can keep running them back, and if I finally my Huhuran and a Lion back, good luck with that. And I've taken them to fatigue, and you're like, how? Like out of all the decks, Egg Hunter. Like imagine being a player that comes back after 2 years and like you see my game where what is that card? That is Huhuran. You're really confused and you're like, oh, but he's playing against a Reno Shaman. He's probably going to lose, and suddenly you see the Reno Shaman scrambling for answers and they are getting into fatigue, and you're like, what happened? So that's kind of wacky.
You can disrupt
So
the
is your
top
face.
decks, right? Like that's the thing. It's like they don't like razor scales, they don't like neophytes, they don't like speaker stompers, they don't like Lotheb, they don't like board clears. Like there's a lot that you can do to interact with this top meta, and we should sort of, as wild players, I think, enjoy where we're at right now, because it gets worse, a lot
And
worse.
but you know what they cannot do.
What can't they do?
The shaman.
What's that?
I always rat the shudder. There is a rat in a hunter.
Before we like hop in to and the final segment of the show, I just want to thank you, TomCarter, for coming on the show. And if there's anything like I just like you to be able to speak out here. If there's any way you want people to be able to reach you, or if there's anything you want to plug, the stage is yours right now.
I don't usually post that much on Twitter, but I'm always open up for DMs on Discord and on Twitter. I have my handles for BNet on Twitter as well. It's just TomCarter HS. And you can shoot me a message, and I most probably will reply. I actually have. I'm looking at one now. Someone asked me if I have a Huhuran 30 version because they don't have True and Crescent. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And I'm probably going to reply to them. So I'm open to the feedback and you can reach me pretty easily if you want to.
Awesome.
Unrelated advice with special guest of the week.
All right, Tom. Now, you've had more formal training than I've had in radio broadcasting. So I'm interested to see in your one semester of radio broadcasting and your obvious natural talent for speaking into a microphone. Give me one key tip that I can use to make myself a better radio broadcaster.
So you and this is completely real, unscripted. You're actually really good, and you improved a lot since you started streaming. And here's one thing that I just did that you are not supposed to do, and you have got on those, which is using those little like I was
Yeah.
thinking that is the first thing that you need to avoid in the speech that you're having. And again, the thing is that the radio training that I had was in Spanish, so again, I do have these mannerisms in Spanish as well, but when I speak English, although I've been studying English for oh god, how old am I? 27.
You said
I
you're
think I
27.
studied English for 50. You're what, 52, Sheep?
Yes. Yeah, sheep 52.
No.
Exactly.
Close.
No, I've been studying English for the better part of 2 decades now. I learned the colors when I was 4. Um, in Spanish I don't do this in English I still don't have it. It's like I still have the accent.
You're translating. Yeah.
But you're no, I'm not translating. I think in English.
Gotcha. Okay.
But because it was something that was taught to me in Spanish, um, it's weird. I cannot do it in English. But the best advice that I can give anyone is to if you need to do a speech or something, is to write it down and to learn your own pace when it comes to speaking. You will learn that you have more tools than what you think you have, and not everyone needs to be super eloquent or be able to speak like this or be able to do voices and suddenly, oh, he's a billion coming this summer. You don't need to do that. That's something that's taught for fun, and it was actually in one of the classes. It was literally just for fun. But you will learn that people take it for granted that we speak, right? It's like why would why would I learn how to walk, right? Because I just walk. And suddenly you have marathonists, right? And they walk better than you. So I think that people need to learn how to speak. I think that learning how to communicate, given that is like 95% of what you do as a human, even if you do it by writing or whatever, um, is very important. I think that everyone should take a debate class or something like that. And the best advice that I can do is to be more conscient on what you do. And Hydra, when I watched the other episode as well, the fact that,
Yeah.
that you said, oh, I'm reading these many books, and I think the last time that I picked a book was to even out a wobbly table. Um, I don't read, and I know it, and I suck at it. Um, but there are so many ways in which one can improve their vocabulary and learn. Um, so yeah, I think that my advice is to learn how to speak, but that comes with breaking this assumption that, oh, just because I do it every day, I need to get better at it.
Wiser words were never spoken. And you heard that on.
More to be wild.